No sparrow, does this word not sound like the death bird culling the living dead at dawn? It is the name both ghouls and demons dare not say, for they know it means death for the undead.
What if the fake news canceled the world's most beloved heroes? When a tragic attack ends the lives of precious innocents, our most celebrated heroes find themselves blamed and canceled by the media that once glorified them. Now in hiding, will they be able to trust each other long enough to prove their innocence? Well, they better fight as hard as they can, because if they don't, an even bigger tragedy is coming. And this time, it will cost millions of lives. Truth, Justice, American Way, the 64-page full-color graphic novel. Get yours today, only on Indiegogo.
Wednesday, June 8th, it is Double Impact with Gabe and Sean. For some reason, I feel like making up new words. For some reason, I feel like shouting, Mortal Kombat! I'm not sure why, but we do need to review the 1995 Mortal Kombat someday. But today, on the menu is the delicious Cajun cooking, a crab boil, I might say, with my friend Sean. It's Hard Target. How you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. I've found my bandana, so life is good. I had to tear this entire room apart. It was pretty scary.
Tear this ship apart.
Yeah, I lost it, but yeah, the coffee was tolerable though.
Yeah.
To quote Van Damme in that movie, next time be more careful when you're showing your wallet.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know you could do such a good Van Damme.
Gotta do a Van Damme every now and again. Got to. This movie was to say that this movie was 50% probably of my total dialogue in high school once I watched it would probably be a gross understatement. Okay. I would just walk around and go, to each other, we'd like, you are a effing buffalo. Like, well, what does that even mean in that context?
Yeah, I like that we have 1980s Quaker Oats guy in this. What is his name again?
Wilford Brimley, baby.
Yeah, Wilford Brimley. He and his mustache. It's a package deal, people.
Right there, someone's got a quote. Good whiskey make Jack Rabbit slap the bear and takes care of your diabetes.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I'm running late, guys. I just got out of the shower just a few seconds ago. I am adorned in my double damn shirt that I've worn the last 3 double impacts. So is that a triple impact? I don't know. You tell me. But I got to say, one of the things, it's not even a story thing. One of the things I love the most about this movie, I'm looking through my pictures right here, is Van Damme's look in this movie. This is, okay, I got a great one here. This is absolute peak 90s insanity action. I'm just going to start off with this one here.
Here it is.
That mane he has. I've heard tell that there have been more than one woman find themselves pregnant just beholding this mane of hair. You've heard the same, correct? And that the children from these, minglings, they are also born with mighty, mighty manes. Just that the kid comes out the womb, got the business in the front and the party in the back. So
what surprised me was, I'm on CG team, and one of the really caught me off guard, and he was emotional about it. When I was telling him that story, and Eric Weathers looked at me, of course, with his mullet, and he said, Sean, I am one of those kids, you know, and you never know. I mean, who you're going to meet in comics.
We found
Eric
Weathers.
Yeah, I mean, neck down, chiseled like granite. You know,
Right.
It's just, it is what it is. Don't hate the player, folks.
Indeed. Before we get rolling on Hard Target, which is just fantastic 90s candy, that's what it is. It's just 90s action candy, Hard Target. It's loosely based off The Most Dangerous Game, where crazy rich dudes hunt people for sport, which is insane. Yep. But before we get to that, I put a little poll up when the show was starting. Let's take a look at the poll. Could you punch a rattlesnake to death like Van Damme? And just for YouTube and the weirdos, don't try this is written up there. 71% of Double Impact viewers so far say they could do it. So we'll see how that poll goes throughout the night. We got a good comment here from Simply Green. There are things you only figure out in that situation. Yeah, I reckon I could punch a rattlesnake to death if I had to. Odds of successfully doing it without getting bit are a different matter.
Oh,
absolutely. I like how I transitioned to a dramatic read of that. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. You know, my mama took one. Like the lines in this are so sublime. You know, I mean, it's a movie that speaks to what's important in life, which is Jean-Claude Van Damme. And go ahead.
I was just going to say, so in this movie, is he just like a homeless vagrant or what? Because he's wandering the streets of New Orleans and he wants to get a job as a seaman, like working on boats or something like that. And it's never made clear what he is. He's just wandering around in his trench coat and his big greasy mullet and defending women from just vagrants in New Orleans. Do we ever get a clear picture of who he is in this? I don't think
he's
so.
an odd jobs guy. That's basically what he does. He takes odd jobs, and he apparently he does pay rent, because he does say, and I'd bet my rent money that whoever did it happened when Bender was still wearing it. That's right. And so, yeah, I think he just go ahead. There you go. Yeah, he was a vet.
Oh, he was. That's right.
Yes, that's right. Marine Force Recon.
Thank you, Big Gasman. Yeah, there's always so much good stuff in these movies. I forget some of the smaller details. But it worked in They Live, where he was just a wandering,
that's right. Wandering badass.
Wandering badass. Yeah.
That's right.
I think I avoided this movie because of his hair. Well, I don't blame you, as we heard what this hair does to ladies earlier in this very video.
Exactly right.
So, yes.
Exactly right.
Let's see. Oh, look at this. Says, this movie makes a lot more sense if you just assume JCVD is Roddy's bro from They Live. Yeah, he's the brother of Nada just a few years later. Yeah,
we need that deep fake movie with those two. That's what we need, man.
Oh, my gosh. We should just, I know we already reviewed They Live. We should just review the street fight some night in that, because it is 8 minutes long. Just make a meal out of that. All the moves. There's pro wrestling moves in it. At one point, he breaks the windshield of a car with a 2x4, and he breaks character. He starts laughing, and you could tell that wasn't in the movie. Roddy Piper. It is the greatest fight. It is the greatest fight.
It is the greatest fight, man. It is, man. It's we got Henry Bemis, we've got Louis Fillet, we've got and with I'm sure the most recent grandson is growing like a weed every single day, and we're glad to know that. Angela Curry in the chat, who had a joke stolen by Rob Arnold the other night that landed beautifully. And here you go.
Controversial. Oh,
yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
So you are the Rain Man of this movie. I'm gonna just flash you some images here. I'd like you to just riff on it a little bit. I'll respond to you, but you're the brainiac that loves this movie. I mean, I absolutely adore it, but it seems like you have Encyclopedia Britannica knowledge of this.
Yes, I do.
So, break down the bad guys for us and what they're up to. The great Lance.
Sure.
And the guy I thought up until 5 minutes ago was Billy Zane right there with the shotgun.
They could be brothers. Yeah.
It's not Billy Zane. I thought that for 20 years.
So you've got Mr. Fouchon right there, played by the wonderful Lance Henriksen. You've got Arnold Vosloo is Mr. Van Cleef, if I'm not mistaken. And also goes by the name of, Pick, I think he says, or calls him something. I forget what he calls him, and then he, you're not angry with me, are you? I don't get angry. I'm a professional, Lance Henriksen just chews scenery, and he's also using. Yep, that dude was in The Mummy. That dude was Imhotep. And what I loved about Lance Henriksen's character in this movie, and I want you guys to notice this, is he's got this one-shot target practice pistol that he's holding. So whenever, and he's got, you know, every time he fires it, he's got to go and reload it by hand. And it's almost like one of those John Woo-isms, you know, and this was his American debut in film. Was he had done Hard Boiled. So when he came to do this film, they thought they'd name it Hard Target. And he had such little film experience. A lot of people don't know this. He had such little film experience. The only way they greenlit it is they had Sam Raimi go down with him to New Orleans for the filming, the director of the Spider-Man 1 and 2 and 3 and Evil Dead. And so they sent him down there so that he could help him if things got out of hand. Right. And the thing that's interesting is how you know that is when they are hunting his friend, who is the tragic death of his friend, who's a veteran and helps them find out more information on her father. He confronts a guy in the street where he's like, "Come on, man, help me." And the guy goes, "Hey, man, I ain't got no change, man." That's Sam Raimi's younger brother. So he's in Darkman. He's in all these movies.
Oh my gosh, love Darkman. I'm gonna have to write that on the list.
He's the guy who gets stuck out of the manhole cover.
Okay.
That's the same dude. And after the way he treated our friend, I mean, you know, that's what he deserved as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, you've got all these guys, and the people that are around him went from the guy with the cigar and whatever that shirt is he's wearing, God bless him. The guy who opens up the movie, who shoots with the arrow gun, and that's the main image for this movie. Right. Those guys are all rich people who pay to hunt. And when they decide to go after Van Damme in that finale, he basically calls up all their top clients you've seen in other sequences. Right. And he says, you know, guys, I've got a special thing. You know, it's going to cost, like he's charging them for the final battle, which is hilarious. It's an amazing flick. Yeah. Randall. I come back here. I cut me a steak.
So there this guy, he's in The Mummy. He's in this. Mm-hmm. I thought he was Billy Zane from Titanic this whole time. I can't believe that. I can't believe I thought
he's a South African actor, if I'm not mistaken, and he has this very interesting accent that you don't get to see in The Mummy. But yeah, this is, guys, when I loved this movie. I had Hard Boiled on widescreen VHS. Yes, I know I'm old as dirt. And when I was in college, all we did was draw and think about drawing panels. And actually in high school, what am I saying, before I even got to college, drawing panels that were influenced by this movie. Things like that, where you've got a character standing in the doorway, you know, in a tailored suit, who's, you know, a trained killer with that. The Killer is a great John Woo flick. I love that movie. That's a fantastic movie. I had The Killer, Hard Boiled, and there was another movie I had as well. That I'm blanking on. That was a John Woo film, all with Chow Yun-fat in them. And the greatest thing about this movie is this is peak Van Damme. Right. Like when he does this movie, he's going on the biggest talk show in the world, which is Arsenio Hall. Like these are different times. And he's going on all these shows, and it is a big movie. And he had enough money to where he was able to bring John Woo to the States for his debut. So many of the John Woo-isms are in this flick. It's just great. You know?
Yeah, it's really fun. It does have that Hong Kong cinema thing going. And I love that there's that scene where what is the girl's name again in this? I forget her name.
Oh my gosh. Her name, hold on a second. It's Natalie. Natasha. Okay. And she goes, Natasha, and she goes by Nat. And he goes, your parents name you after a bug? Remember? And he goes, it's short for Natasha. And she goes, what kind of name is Chance? He goes, well, my mama took one, you know, because
yeah, she did. But when he meets her, she's being bothered by some street toughs here by her Camaro. I believe that's a Camaro. Could be a bad.
That is.
I don't know, but I love this look here. I think just get a load of this trench coat, mullet, and change in his pocket. And he beats up like 3 or 4 dudes right outside of this bar or convenience or whatever because they're giving her a hard time. But one thing that's insane in the fight scenes, he kicks a dude in the head later in the movie. I love the outdoor fight scenes and the whole New Orleans thing, but he kicks a dude in the head in a motorcycle helmet.
In a helmet.
Right. Like, how did he not break his shin or his ankle or something? He's so great. He's so good. He's so good.
I know how he did that. You don't know? Because by chance, no pun intended, when he kicked the guy in the head on that bike, the guy had a cable that's very noticeable tied to his back that also pulled him off the bike. Not in this shot, but in the next shot. Because in this shot, he doesn't even make contact. He's so far away.
Oh, it's so good.
No, but it's great, man. It's great. Yep.
So for those of you, I'm not going to do it right now too heavily, but for those of you who have seen my book that's coming out after Truth, Justice, American Way, called Beef Law, now you will know where I got the aesthetic from for the main character, Max Volkov. It's literally, I'll just show you real quick. We'll get right back to the movie. But Beef Law is my next Indiegogo, and that's why Max Volkov, our hero of Beef Law, that's why he has this haircut, this look. I based it right off this movie. You know what I mean? I just love that. To me, it just sings that. Look at it, just gloriously swirling in the wind there as he flies. Just a beautiful mullet. So he's got a little bit of chance to him.
You're gonna
a little bit. You know.
Listen, guys. Look, there are people who say they're Van Damme fans, and that's fine. You know, as long as they can sleep at night, they can claim to be Van Damme fans. But I got to see if I can find this now because you said this. And when you said this, I suddenly just remembered. I went, wait a second. Where is it? There's this pose. If I can find it. Guys, let me tell you this. For those of you guys backing Nosfero, and I know some of you guys, and it's great, ask you like, hey, how's it coming? How's it coming along? The fact that I have to dig through Nosfero artwork find Nosfero artwork should tell you about how it's coming, which is pretty nuts, pretty well. But here it is. The cover image, right? The cover image in Nosfero, which some of you guys probably have seen, where he's got her by the arm and he's pulling her up after he's just stabbed the vampire in the head. Every time I do that particular flex pose where somebody's arms are down, it's the pose where Van Damme is wrapping up the grenade in a rag, and then they go to him and he does this utterly insane flex, like where he's like, grah, and it's like fire and everything like that. So that actually is influenced by my obsession with Hard Target. It's a real thing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have to be honest with the chat. I didn't watch the movie this week. I've been caught up with a lot of stuff. I watched some review vids earlier today, but I've seen the movie plenty of times. But one of the reviews was saying, I forget, it was someone else's YouTube channel. I can't give him credit because I forgot who it was. The muscle thing you just said, that Van Damme was demanding on the set, there were lots of key shots of his muscle and stuff. I don't know if that's true. I do want to believe it because it's fun to believe. So that's half of the fantasy here with this nonsense.
I would say this, which is particularly at this point in his career, and this is something a lot of people miss, is that Van Damme's muscles put asses in seats. Ladies' asses very often. And Van Damme's muscles also put his ass on the screen quite often too. And the thing about this flick is, I always wanted to see Van Damme. He's made some really good movies, but I'm a big John Woo fan, and I think that he works really well in more operatic kind of action films. Do you know what I mean? With heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where the thing I love about him in this is you get introduced to his uncle, played by Wilford Brimley. And there was this great quality of these films in the 90s where Van Damme would always have a very humanizing friend. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And there was always these, a lot of people don't know this, but John Woo really was attracted to Bible references in his stuff. There's a lot of shootouts that happen in churches. There's a lot of Christian symbolism in his stories. And so the friend of Van Damme's that gets hunted and killed and who is frantically trying to get in somewhere and no one will take care of him, his name is Elijah. And he's also former military. So, you know, when he meets him, he's like, Elijah, you know, and he's like, hey, what's happening? Like, he knows everybody. Good people. Good people.
Absolutely. I love this here from Beard Gasmatron. Gabe, you need to see if JCVD has a cameo and have him do a Beef Law plug. 10,000 steps ahead of you, friend. My family already, my wife and kids, they tried to get Van Damme to do me a cameo for my birthday, and he's not on there. He's too much of an action star to be slumming in cameo. You know, so yeah, he's not there, unfortunately. I wish he was.
Listen, folks. Michael Bancroft once dreamed. He sent it out into the universe that Eric July would come onto his stream, okay? And Eric July ended up on his stream.
Wow.
We have to dream for Jean-Claude Van Damme, okay, to reach out to us so that we can get that to happen for Gabe. It's got to happen.
Great. That'd be great to happen. That'd be amazing. I mean, we had Dean Cain on my channel once.
That's right.
So we get another guy, another action star.
Dean Cain's got to know Van Damme. They hang out, right? Come on.
Yeah, I'll name drop him anytime. You know, we were texting this afternoon. He told me what he was up to and future plans. But no, but in all seriousness, what a look, huh? What a star.
He was a movie star big time.
Yeah, he was. My goodness, I love this.
I mean, he still is, but in the sense of, you know, what he did. But I mean to say, at that time, people cannot grasp how do I word this? The creeping sort of deconstructionist nihilism. By the way, I'm not saying this like, oh, it's not a thing. It happens in waves. Started to creep in towards the tail end of his career. He was a late 80s, early 90s phenomenon. And those movies were not understood as much, you know, a couple years later. And he was wanting to make even more earnest movies and all of that kind of stuff. But at this moment, during these films, it's hard to imagine a guy who is, you know, a decent human being, is a tough guy, all those things, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that point you're making about the late 80s or early 90s. To me, that is the zenith of action movies.
Yep.
Most of the 80s has pretty good action, but it gets better in the middle and then through the early-ish mid-90s. Then the nihilism and the leftism and all the weird stuff slowly starts in the 90s, very slowly. You know, like I think, like the Silver Surfer being Galactus's herald, I think Janine Garofalo was the far less feminist herald. She herself wasn't that bad, but she was predicting something to come. You know,
well, let me say this too, because I want, for those of you guys who haven't seen the movie, I always make Gabe do the heavy lifting here. So let me, yeah, there you go, right there. Hail,
got a little rap, we got a little flow. He's spitting bars here, Andrew Wilson. And Jetty, always on the ready. Gabriel, an angel, fighting for truth, justice in the American way. I destroyed the cadence on that. Sorry, I should have read it before.
But I let you do it. If I'd done it, it would have been bad. So this is the breakdown of Hard Target. So you have got former divorced father, homeless, living on the streets of New Orleans, as we tickle the ivory, and we go to shots of downtown, of the district, with rain pouring down hard as you see a man frantically trying to get into doors. This is Douglas Bender, and Douglas Bender is being hunted by some people. In particular, it's the dogs, the people who wear all black. You never see them. They're anonymous, and they work for Mr. Lafouche and his right-hand man, Mr. Van Cleef. And they they hunt homeless people with one person and their team of escorts. This is an unusual shot because there's two guys in this shot who are people who pay. But the gentleman who's paying is the guy in the sunglasses on the right side of the screen in this opening shot. Bender has to make it to the river, and he gets to keep money. They give homeless people this money they look for former military with no family. He lies and says he has no family. He's a late replacement. We find that out later. And with the money belt around his waist, he's trying to get to the river. He almost makes it. But then he is shot by an arrow that pierces one of his dog tags. And this becomes a clue, because when they recover him in a staged fire, they find only one dog tag. So Van Damme goes to look for it, and he finds that second one with the piercing on it. But first, we cut to Yancey Butler, his daughter Natalia, Natasha. Yeah, Natasha. And he goes, she's coming to look for her father. She can't find him. We know he's dead. She checks everywhere. She finds his cart. And then they finally, while she is looking, and they meet Elijah, and Elijah's explaining that he's been homeless. She gets called in by the police, who she had just seen earlier, and they said, "We found your father's body." She is so devastated by this, and she decides that Van Damme, I skipped a part. Van Damme rescues her when she comes to town because she's flashing her money around. And in the French Quarter, I guess that's a no-no. And some men attack her. He beats the hell out of him with one of the coolest moves ever, which is like an old Western, because John Woo loves his Westerns. He pulls his trench coat aside to reveal he's not carrying a gun, but what he's doing is he's unfurling his leg. And then he just kicks this guy in the head.
Right.
And it's
Like
glorious.
a cowboy. He pulls his duster back, but instead of a 6-gun, he's just got 2 legs.
He's got a boot.
Right.
He's got some Timberlands with a vengeance.
And that's a great scene. Just look here. I don't know if you noticed the human detritus right at the very bottom of the panel here. He beats the crap out of about 4 dudes, breaks some limbs. He puts one guy, the last guy, through the window, I believe, and throws him into the bar. Or do they throw him out of the bar? I don't remember which way they're going.
Oh, I can tell you exactly the sequence if you need to know. That's I think I can remember. Someone can check me on this. I think the last guy that he drops is the guy who comes at him with a pipe, and he catches his arm, breaks it, and then spins him around in this balletic move where his head smacks on the ground flat, and that's how the sequence ends. But my favorite person he takes out in this early action scene is a gentleman you see laying there in the white t-shirt with his legs under him. He throws that guy into an old-timey iron pole with a little horse's head on the top of it for, tying up horses back in the day or whatever else. And the guy's head hits it in frame, and it makes this glorious sound of what happens when you hit a metal post in the ground. It's rough. And so he rescues her. And when she goes to see the police by herself, the police chief, she says to her, she's like, if you want to find your father, find somebody who knows the city. Otherwise, I'll be filling out one of these missing persons forms for you. She remembers Chance. She tracks him down. She offers to pay him. And this is one of those great scenes. She goes up to him and she says, I want to hire you for a job. And he goes, what's the job? And she goes, I think it was $100 a day. She goes, for $100 a day, does it really matter? And he looks at her and he goes, yeah, it does. Actually, it does. Like, he shows his character. He's not some cheap person who's going to do she's very, it's a very crass thing she says, right? To a guy who needs the money. And then she goes, I'm trying to find my father. And he's like, I really wish I could help you. But, and then he finds out that he's got union dues, that are preventing him from shipping out to make money. And he says, how can I pay my dues if I can't get the job? So they go, not my problem. And so he's got some time before they ship out. Yes, that is the lady from Witchblade. That is Yancey Butler.
Oh.
And there you go.
There we go.
Boom.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't even think about it. What year was that Witchblade show? Like 96, 97, something like that?
I think. Yeah, that would have been going on during your time out there, right?
Yeah.
Were you in Image at that time?
No. I didn't get to Wildstorm until January of 2008.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So, in 97, 98, I was here in San Diego, but I was working construction and applying at Wildstorm once a week. I was dropping off 4 pages a week at Wildstorm, working odd jobs, factories, warehouses, construction, all kinds of stuff like that. And then since it wasn't working, I moved up to Colorado to go to college with my wife. So we were in Colorado 8 years, then back to Wildstorm. But this is about Hard Target, not my life story right now.
No, but it's a part of it, right? It's a part of it. We're comic book artists talking about action movies, and this is a crossover to the action movie involving comics. So this is the thing, right? When I look at her, I want to point this out. This is a scene in the movie where she's seeing the mullet for the first time. And you can see the confusion, the love, the interest. What are these feelings? So that's after she gets attacked.
That's after the mullet gets done with her.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's right. Yeah, that's and so
I heard someone once call that JBF hair. So figured out.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't make that up. I heard that once. And I was like,
my Lord.
Checks out.
So they basically, by going, they meet up. He gets denied going on the ship, so he says he'll work for her, and he learns about her father. They go to the police, and he knows where to look because he knows Elijah. He knows all these people, and he knows everybody in town basically. And he's got he's a lovable rascal in town, dare I say, who does odd jobs, as they say. And
Right.
The thing that's interesting is that they begin looking for her father, and before they even really get started, they find out that he's been killed, and then it becomes a journey to find out what the hell happened to him.
Right.
That's really what it is. And then they find out about this group of people who are being covered by the corrupt officials in the town, including the forensic examiner in the police department who's been faking cause of death or misrepresenting cause of death. That gentleman right there.
Yeah.
And he gets a great kill.
What a jerk.
Yeah, he's and then there's the interesting other thing about this is that there was a chant that was going on throughout the town. And
what was it?
Frustrated police officers who are on strike, which is part of what's making their job easier. And they're chanting, "Without cops, the city stops. Without cops, the city stops."
Oh.
And I always thought that was a really interesting aspect. So the crime is out of control in New Orleans because the police are on strike. They're not being funded. They're not being taken care of.
Do you think they were not fully funded or something weird like that?
They may have even been defunded. I don't know.
Can you imagine if that, like, something dumb like that happened in real life?
No, it would never happen. And the sad thing is, if something were that to happen, it's conceivable that some of the people it would most impact are people like our dear friend Elijah. Oh no. Our dear friend Elijah. There he is, served his country, ended up on the street, much like Natasha Bender's father, and these psychopaths, these corrupt political officials and people behind the scenes feed him to the wolves. And this is the thing. This is the bit of the movie that has some writing. What they say to him is probably the cruelest, I mean this sincerely, thing I've ever seen in a movie. I remember his whole sequence is really the heart of the story. It breaks your heart. Yeah. I remember I saw this movie with my son, and he just was incredulous that this guy that you fall in love with, who's just an incredibly decent guy, he says to him, he goes, "Here's a wall of money. It's so and so. You see all this money? You get this money. You make it to the thing. You can, keep the money." And he's like, "Man, fuck you." And he goes, and as he's turning around, the guy goes, Lance Henriksen goes, "Maybe you like being the object of pity. Maybe." And he just goes into this whole thing. He goes, "This money could make you a man again. You could look people in the eye when you walk down the street." It was freaking horrendous.
Yeah, that's awful.
It is horrible.
Yeah, he stabs right at his manhood,
Yes, he does.
His pride. It's brutal.
And, yeah, go ahead.
A quick comment from Paul. Gabe finally getting psyched again with 90s action and working out on Beef Law. Can't wait. I back T-Jaw, but he's dying for martial arts throwback. Well, you won't die. I'm gonna rescue you from that. It's coming. It's coming, baby. But you're right about Elijah. That they do treat him like an animal, and he doesn't die like a dog. He goes down swinging, but it's brutal. He's outnumbered. It's completely unfair. And it's kind of
shoots the guy who paid for it.
That's right.
Yeah.
But for them to say he's not a man, I would say they are not men for outnumbering him and all that. That's not a manly way to attack anyone.
And we've got David Brohawk Williams, tip the hat. We've got my main man, my can of spam. It's all about money. Gary Martin, Incognito, Clark Kent in the chat.
Double impact, hard target, a prophetic film. Who would have thought? Mm-hmm. Yeah, defund the police. No good, no bueno. And here's Gary Martin, the inker for T-Jaw. Does Beef Law have an evil twin named Tofu Law?
That's my book.
I don't see why he can't. You'll have to buy it to find out, though.
My book is called Vegan Law.
Well, I made up beef law like 4 years ago on a live stream as a joke. I was just improvising some comedy with the chat, and I was talking about ribs, barbecue ribs, and we got into a whole thing about beef is the law. And I just made it up that there was a butcher and his wife left him for this vegan like yoga instructor guy. So like everything he stood for, traditionalism, discipline, martial arts, and he was an ex-military, but he opened up a butcher shop and it was all about beef. And then his wife leaves him for this slimy vegan yoga dude. And then it was a joke. It was just a joke thing. But then I started taking it seriously, and that's where that beef law sort of it showed itself to me,
Yeah. This is the thing too, though, right? We talk about hail, brother. This is the thing about it, which is the part that got me. Like, I was one of those people who, when I watched these movies, I really cared about these characters. You know what I mean? Like, I was Van Damme is his key quality is I think he was able to create a sense of empathy. You know what I mean? For his characters, because he cared about people. He was trying to do the right thing, but Elijah was kind of a cut above him. He was kind of like the fatherly mentor, totally selfless. He doesn't have a lot, but he has his honor, and he's going to help these people find her dad. And when they uncover that he's handing out, flyers to, these cheap joints run by this guy, he covers it up quickly so she doesn't have to see it, which I thought was beautiful. And going back to the character's name, Elijah, and who he is and what he's about in the story, when he dies, do you remember how he dies?
It's in the graveyard, right? Those above ground graves there in New Orleans.
No, it's in the middle of town.
It's in the middle of town.
He's trying to get into buildings.
Who gets killed in the graveyard?
The dude who's hunting him, which, well done.
Oh, that's right.
He shoots that. He shoots him with that gun that he gets off of him in the graveyard. He hits the guy, takes his gun, shoots him, and then Lance Henriksen comes up to him, and the guy's dying, and he takes his one-shot gun, and he goes, "Now you understand why we always insist on payment up front," and shoots the guy in the head, or the chest. Sorry, the chest. And then when he gets to the town and no one will let him in, no one's going to help him. And the guy goes, "I ain't got no change, man." He's like, "Change." And he realizes, like, the hell is this? He knows he's doomed, but he turns around to where Lance Henriksen's in the car. All these guys point guns at him, and he turns around and puts his arms out like this. I mean, it is a straight up surrendering to his fate, but also forcing them to look at what they're doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? In a sense, like, you can almost see they have a odd respect for what he's doing. That he's not a coward, that he's meeting his fate. And it's very odd, because it's they can see on that hunt the cowardice of the person that they're out there with. And it's almost like you sort of feel as though there's this missing gear in them that doesn't understand him. Yeah, Angela's asking, was he balancing on a motorcycle? Of course. Haven't everybody done that before?
Oh yeah. Right here. Who among us has not fantasized about taking out bad guys while standing on a motorcycle? I used to do that on my 10-speed bike all the way up until I was in high school. I would never attempt that now at 43 years old, but I would do this trick. I would do this trick from about age 10 until about age 17 or 18. I would just go down the street standing on my bike, not caring a thing about falling off. And I never did. I did not have a moment like that, though. I want to address some amazing comments in the chat real quick.
Yes, please do. Please.
Some of the stuff for us. There was let me back up here.
Yeah, I've been going, guys. You gotta
improv between Gabe and Sean. Who would be most likely to grow a mullet? Have you ever had a
mullet?
I've never had one. No, I've never
had
I have,
so the answer is got to be me.
The answer is Sean. I've never had long hair.
Folks, I'm going to tell you something I have never said publicly anywhere right now, okay? This is going to date me to the 80s, but it's also going to show my class and my character.
All right.
Not only have I had a mullet, which I had on my 16-year-old license, I had a mullet. I wish I could find some of those pictures. They would change your life. But when I was in elementary school, I had the bane of teacher-parent existence that a young kid could have. Like, if this is like, I can't, like, you guys are like, he was going to Waffle House and smoking cigarettes when he was like a kid and doing all that stuff. Guys, when I was in the 5th and 6th grade, I had a rat tail. Do any of you remember what those were?
Ooh,
woo! Yeah.
Woo! Yeah, that was That was a good way to keep the girls at bay. You know,
it absolutely did. But I could whip it around and wrap it around them and bring them in.
Oh my goodness!
It was dark.
Here's what I got to address. A lot of people ask me about this. Angela Curry, Gabe, for stretch goal, will the wife make you a sandwich? Here's the problem with my wife making me anything. She does it all the time, every day, all day. She asks me what I want. You can ask Shant last week when we did the show. Once the show went off the air, Shant and I stayed on and we spoke for like 2-3 hours. We always talk after the show. She brought me a New York steak and I just ate it right here. I don't want to eat on camera. My wife cooks 2-3 meals for me regularly. So her bringing me a sandwich is really like Van Damme having an awesome mullet. You know, it's as they say in French, de rigueur. You know, it's very regular that she cooks for me. So I guess she could bring me a sandwich, but that's just also known as Tuesday. You know?
Yeah, I told Mrs. Jenny, I said I was up with Gabe the other night. We were talking, and his wife brought him a steak, and she said to me, she was like, "Yeah, a New York steak." And she looked at me, and she was like, "Oh, that's so great," and then just walked away. That was it.
And you were eating that Domino's pizza.
No, and I was eating that Domino's pizza, and it was like pepperoni, sausage, tears.
Right. You were eating it like a man who was shipwrecked for 2 months.
Yeah, I was eating like I had a hole in my heart. That's what it is.
See, Julie's on to something here. Beef law sounds really goofy until the second time you hear it, and then it just sounds beefy. And now it sounds like a franchise. Damn right. Beef law, it is a funny name on purpose. There was a book I read about persuasion and marketing, all this stuff, and it's the name of the book is Impossible to Ignore. So when you have a name like Beef Law, it's literally impossible to ignore. If it was just called like Action Punch Brothers or something, it becomes very generic. You know what I mean? And you just kind of forget it. But like Beef Law is a really, you feel a little silly saying it, right? But then you kind of get used to it, you know? It's here to stay, baby. So
my attitude about Beef Law is, I want to just be really clear about this, is that it's the way they're going to be shipped to you like this, and this is how I suggest you order. It's a board, right? Okay. Then one Beef Law issue patty, and then another board, and then get your second issue patty in there. Do a 2 Beef Law patty.
And then a little American cheese.
That's right.
Some slivered onions and
word.
Was he bouncing on a motorcycle? Let's see what else we had. I don't know where. Oh, the crossover between Cyberfrog and Beef Law, Cyber Beef.
That's right.
Let's see. Chat, make sure to watch JCVD movie and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Johnson TV show on Amazon. Great stuff. Yeah, that's a fun show. He's playing like a washed-up martial artist who goes and films new movies, but really he's an undercover spy, and they send him to film movies wherever there's trouble and he needs to save the day. It's a fun little meta version of his own life. So, yeah, you know, he's made a lot of crap movies since his heyday, but like 1 in every 10 or so is really good. JCVD is great. The Bouncer is great. There's one called They Die Young or something like that is great. I think that's what it's called. He's had a few gems in the last 10 years, just like 3 or 4. But there's some really good ones. Most of them are, you know what they are. They're not so great. So,
he has one of the most famous commercials of all time.
Right. Yeah. Right. As the Volvo trucks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he is famous for doing the splits. And I heard that he didn't do the splits in this movie, but I went and did some further research. And in fact, in the final fight scene, he does flying splits, which doesn't really count, but I'm going to allow it. Because usually he drops to the ground and then punches the dude in the nuts. That's usually his move with the splits. But we're going to allow this one. If you'll allow me to just indulge myself here with a little clip I prepared. It's one of the great sequences of the movie. You can explain what's going on afterwards, Sean, but let's all just be silent and watch this because this is outstanding. Okay?
Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah. That was a great sequence, man. It was a great sequence.
He taps the snake, and then he punches it for the knockout. What the hell is going on? I love this movie so much.
Yeah, it's a great flick. I'm sorry. It's if you would die quieter and pick up the pace, Boudreaux would have less time for these little surprises. God, what a great flick.
I want to know if knocking out a snake was written by the screenwriter or did Van Damme riff that one on set? You know what I mean?
I honestly have to tell you, whoever came up with that idea is a genius. And we need to find who they are, who wrote that. I bet everyone takes credit for it. That everyone's like, that was my idea. That was my idea. You know?
And I do like how he bites the rattle off, so the snake is then silent, and then he puts it in a tree that the mercenary weirdo murderers, they just happen to be walking under, and it bites that person right in the face. You know, snake bite in the face, rattleless rattlesnake. Are there rattlesnakes in Louisiana? We have them out here in the desert area near California, San Diego, all that stuff out here. I wonder if that's now I'm just getting nerdy, wondering about the geography of reptiles. That's the question I don't need to know the answer to that.
Let me say this to you guys, and particularly any ladies watching. I want you to know this. Not only did I have a rat tail, not only did I have a mullet at various times, but also starting in about the 10th or 11th grade, I wore a giant, or not giant, but a fairly substantial belt buckle with a diamondback rattler head in it, under like the side cut of it on the belt buckle. Actual diamondback rattler.
Oh, an actual one, not a sculpture or a picture.
Not a sculpture, an actual diamondback rattlesnake head. You can find them, and they're glorious. And I was an interesting lad. Stop sharing, Choff, says Stephen Rockwood.
my grandfather had one of those. My grandfather had a white rattlesnake belt. My grandfather he dressed very normally, but sometimes he would have like some cowboy gear. He had a cowboy hat. Yeah. Then he had a lot of like New Mexico, like turquoise. He had some of that Native American style stuff with the turquoise on it,
Oh no, I gotta find.
He had a bolo with turquoise,
beautiful,
and all that. But is this what you had right here?
No, mine was serious. Hold on a second, let me see if I can find it. You carry the conversation.
No, just stand up because I know you're wearing it right now.
I'm wearing it right now. No, but I'm only wearing that.
Oh no. Oh, they call you the Rattle Sean.
That's exactly right. Oh my god. Let me see if I can.
They need pictures.
I know. I feel bad. I all those pictures were destroyed.
What do you make of this question? From Dan Lawless, the great Dan Lawless. Question: have either one of you been to a rattlesnake roundup?
I have not.
Is this some sort of weird code word for something else, or is this like a real thing with snakes? I don't want to know.
I have
answers
no idea.
That's a no for me. Oh.
Let me see if I can.
Oh, Henry Damme says to occasionally kill rattlesnakes because they get on his property. One time, when I was a child in Greeley, Colorado, at my parents' house, where my dad still lives, but we were going in the car to go recycle soda cans at the grocery store with my mom and my brother. I must have been 4 or 5, and I, for whatever reason, leaned back on the wall where the black trash bags of cans were. My mom told me move. When she moved and went to grab the cans, there was a big old rattlesnake right under me, under the cans. So I did not get bit, obviously, but she freaked out, and then she got a hoe, a garden tool, not some lady. She got a hoe and beat that thing, like chopped its head off or whatever. So,
folks, this right there, I've shared the window down there, Gabe. This is the belt buckle. That is what I had.
I would feel like if I was a lady and I saw this, I had no chance against you.
No, that's not true. This is when you have no chance. That's the double rattlesnake head.
No. Oh,
listen, folks.
It's only $90. It's only $90.
Yeah, any of you guys out there who are saying to yourselves, I'm single, I've tried everything to find that special someone. Let me tell you something right now. You have not tried everything. Okay? That is what's missing.
Oh.
End of.
Oh, let's see. They do have rattlesnake chili in Texas. My wife grew up very poor on a local Indian reservation in San Diego. And she says her mom would kill snakes and stuff. They would eat them, and rabbits too. So I've never had the pleasure of eating snake. I did go to like this food fair in Denver when I was in college in Colorado, and I got like fried alligator nuggets, and I took a bite of one, and it tasted like kind of not great chicken. And then I wanted to puke because I couldn't help just thinking of alligators and just how ugly and disgusting. So that was my adventure into eating reptiles. That was it. Have you indulged in our slithery legless friends?
I don't think I have, but I got to be honest. I've been places, I've been varying degrees of awareness. And it's not impossible that I could have been at the Chattanooga, Tennessee Riverbend Festival where you could get snake and gator meat. I may have had some, but I can't recall. I know it was being passed around, but it wasn't the only thing.
What is the worst thing you've ever eaten? Let's shift gears for just a second. Let's get gross. What is the worst thing you've ever eaten?
That's a tough call.
What's the worst restaurant you've ever been to in your life? Well, that's kind of mean. If it's family.
No. Guys, listen. The bar for me is so low. What I consider the worst meal I've ever had is like, it probably wouldn't be other people's. You know what I mean? It's like I once went. The worst meal. I mean this sincerely. I have a friend who's a vegan, and the worst meal I've ever had was he made me take him to this vegan restaurant, and I swear to you, I felt like I had yard work for lunch. It was like, what is this? It's oh God, vegans out there, God bless you, but you need to eat something. Your bones are gonna get brittle.
To the vegans out there, better you than me, friend. Better you than me.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Look at all these degenerates.
Julie Pascal tried the corn smut that they cook in real Mexican food. So I think in maybe it's Oaxaca or Michoacan, one of the states down there, they have this stuff called huilote. And it's a fungus that attacks corn, and the corn kernels get big like zits. They grow all big and fat and juicy with this black fungus. I'm going to look up huilote and show you a
Gabe, take a look at this. These people are asking me in the chat. I want you to know they've brought this on themselves. They keep asking me to stand up and show my belt buckle because they think I still have that belt buckle. Here you go, guys. So this right here is my current belt buckle right here.
Careful.
It's it's a little serpentine. But this is what I walk around on right now.
Yeah, maybe don't hold it like that.
Why? Like it's a belt buckle. I don't understand what the problem is.
Maybe Yeah. So here it is. I have to make sure all the images are PG when I Google this stuff. So here's corn fungus.
After that?
Yeah. Corn fungus is really a thing, though. And it comes in a can. You can get it in a can or whatever. But I think it's pronounced huilote in Mexican cooking. And I would never want to eat that. So there was a website called Don't Eat It, Steve. And he would eat all kinds of disgusting food. And this is one of the things he ate. He even ate like wasp larva or something. And it was canned food from China, I believe. And I still think that this stuff looks worse. The corn fungus.
Oh.
I feel like you're not supposed to eat that. You know? I would say, no thank you, sir, if someone offered me that.
It's one of those things where people say, how was the gumbo? And you say, a tragedy. The coffee was tolerable though. So listen, folks, this is the thing I will love about John Woo movies. Huge John. There's the shot, guys.
There it
is. In case people wonder, this is what I look like in my high school graduation photo. The fire. No, I didn't. That was nothing. I looked like I was thinner than the shotgun he's holding.
You should get that checked out, friend.
I should. No, seriously, I should. It could be a cucaracha. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, larva. Yeah, well, it is what it is, folks.
I got my theory on things like the corn fungus and all the eating the wasp, larva, lobster. Like, let's say no one had ever eaten lobster. A lot of people love it because they know how it tastes. But before you knew how that thing tasted, I don't like it, but I know a lot of people do. You had to be hungry to eat something with that many legs, right?
Yep.
And all those the eyeballs and just
you do. Yeah. But the thing about it is too, and I was thinking about this too. It's great. Look at them muscles. Yeah. I think this has to be stated, right? Is that and I sincerely think that there is a large group of people, ladies in particular, who are trying to stop this from being a thing, which is they're ruining things like the Marvel movies and all this. There is no shortage of opportunities for women to go to a movie back in the day, anyway, in the prime, and see a bunch of ripped guys together, typically with their shirts off for various parts of the movies.
Right.
And totally exploitive, right? in the best sense. And they know why they're there, and the audience knows. I mean, Magic Mike got a sequel. That's all I have to say. You know, there wasn't no sequel to Showgirls. And I find it incredibly fascinating because you think about that. Could you conceivably imagine a massive franchise that is basically just utterly, physical specimen women running around in skin tight like clothes or bikinis and fighting crime? Like, how we couldn't even explain that to ourselves. We're like, we have to watch that in private.
Right.
That's not something you need to have on a marquee. So yeah,
Right.
It's amazing. Yeah, Aquaman. Just saying.
Yeah. I'm sure. I wonder what they're going to do in the next one. They got to take that lady out of it, right? I mean, I feel like they're going to take Amber Heard out of the next Aquaman. I don't know.
Oh, well, listen, guys. That's a very good example of the Aquaman. Just saying. Yeah, that's a very good example of the equality, quote unquote. You got Jason Momoa with a bottle fight scar across his face, worked out, been married to Lisa Bonet, and seems like a decent, sweet guy when he meets various, people, Tyson Fury and all those guys. And we get really a complete and utter psychopath as our option in that flick, who is, into assault and battery. And I just go, man, and oddly enough, not the kind of person that guys actually are interested in. I think Scarlett Johansson was the kind of embodied that in those early Marvel movies. I think she was fantastic. I also think Agent Carter did as well in Captain America.
Yeah, I didn't see that. My brother dragged me to the Multiverse of Madness, and I watched Agent Carter get cut in half. But I don't know who she is, so I didn't have any context. So yeah.
Well, she was good in the first Avenger. She was really good in Captain America: The First Avenger.
Okay.
And I will say this though, guys. Oh yeah, I love Cyborg's my other movie. I even made a cut of a Biohazard song called "Wrong Side of the Tracks" that opens with the villain. They're all named after guitars. Fender is the name of the villain in Cyborg. Gibson is the name of Van Damme's character. Yep, all named after guitars.
Hold on, I'm opening up the file that I keep here. Whenever awesome movies get mentioned, I have to write it down. So I got to go to YouTube. I got to go to Double Impact. I got to go over to Double Impact Movies, and I got to write down Cyborg. How have we not reviewed Cyborg? Okay, that's in the queue. That is in the hopper. So there's ladies in the crowd, Julie and Angela, talking about one Jason Momoa. Well, did you know I met him in 2018 at the premiere for Aquaman? Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Listen,
he was lucky to meet me. You can see on his face there.
Look, folks. If you're trying to impress me with the fact
the reason he's not like excited and smiling big is because he's so excited to meet me that he was just holding it in. He didn't want to act like a fool. You know what I mean? So
I am clearly the brains of this outfit because I have been smart enough to never take a picture with Jason Momoa next to me. Listen, I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to find like Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman or somebody like that and take a shot with him. Gary Busey. But I'm not taking a picture next to Henry Cavill or Jason Momoa. I don't know what that would do. But is he? No, he's not taller than you.
Oh yeah, he's like 6'5" something. I'm like 6'4", so he's definitely taller than me. But I also met Ivan Drago at that same party, and I was taller than him. So yeah.
See, because I saw him meet Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury towers over him. So I figured you guys were about the same height, you and Jason Momoa. But I guess he's got you by like a little bit there.
Yeah, he's got me by a little bit. Yeah, just a skosh.
Not much, though.
I've got him in the looks. He's got me in the height. So it equals
That's
out,
right. Well, he can't have everything. He can't have everything.
Yeah, so there you go. Right. It's not a perfect world. Come on.
It isn't. It's not fair, Jason. Sorry.
Yeah, it is weird when you're my height, because I looked it up. When you're my height, you're taller than like 97 point something % of human beings. So when I see someone taller than me, it always sticks out to me. Like, whoa, because it almost never comes up, So it is an interesting thing. So I think in CG, there's only one guy taller than me. It would be Mr. Diaz. He's 6'5". So he's also.
Well, I'm 7'2", so I'm taller than both of you guys. Yeah.
7'2", and that's in your rattlesnake boots too. What you didn't tell us is you got the boots and the belt combo. It came together, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I did. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm part snake. A lot of people don't know that. By the way, I want to point something out there with that joke I just made. That joke right there is an actual Lyndon Baines Johnson quote. Okay,
Really?
that he sent to a reporter. Yes, he was out with a reporter, and for those of you guys who don't know, LBJ had many qualities, we'll say. One of them was dictating notes to his secretary as president with the bathroom door open as he was on the toilet. And one of them was when he was talking to a reporter.
That's a power move right there.
What?
It's like, he's unbuttoning the presidential pants, sitting right on the porcelain throne. He's like, okay, I'm going to need you to take some notes. And,
and let me do this too, because I feel bad. I feel like I'm getting too far away from Van Damme. We saw that snake and we just went off the beaten path. Here you go. Yeah, Cecil is the tallest dude in CG.
Right.
But this is the thing. Let me see what we've got here. What images can we call up? We've got the final battle that, let me just say this too. The final battle in Hard Target, this is what I miss about action movies from this era, has got to be one of Dragon Pisces, take care. Okay, I'm out. Remember, truth, justice, and beef is law. Absolutely, we will, Dragon. I will say
thanks
this.
for coming in.
The fight scene amongst all of the parade floats,
right,
for Mardi Gras, the old Mardi Gras graveyard, as they called it, for like old Mardi Gras stuff, is one of the most aesthetically beautiful and interesting action set pieces. It's like this surreal. It's almost like the equivalent of the Funhouse fights, shootouts that you have in some movies, but it's got this kind of. It's almost like New Orleans, which has been through so much, and it's just been such a. I've had because New Orleans is where a lot of friends of mine in the South went to college at Tulane and things like that. But there's this beautiful artistic history to New Orleans. And, famous comic book artists come out of there, like George Harriman grew up in New Orleans, the creator of Crazy Cat. It's a great action sequence. And it's one of the all-time great action sequences, in any movie that I've seen.
It's very John Woo, and I had a lot of trouble finding images for it. There's a lot of Hard Target images online, but not for that ending scene. It's kind of stinks.
Yep.
But you're in this big 1990 smoking, burning warehouse, as you can see in the photo on screen. I just grabbed a few others. This first one isn't very clear, but it is someone flying through the air, and you can see like a big donkey there in the center, and this whole warehouse is on fire, and it has those Mardi Gras floats and all that stuff. And then I grabbed another one. It's also not a great image, but for some reason they're being stingy with these final fight images. But Lance Henriksen and him, they take each other on, and you can see that sort of fleur-de-lis kind of aesthetic right behind them. That looks like purple and gold to me. Those classic colors of Mardi Gras and all that. It is beautiful. It's very John Woo. Did we get flying doves in this movie? I know we got that.
Yes, you do. Pigeons.
The pigeons. That's right. Yeah.
I love that sequence, man. Like, and there's a sequence where he's running and they have this, I don't know how they must take a lot of takes, but where he's running through this place as they're shooting at him, and they cut to the slow-mo shot of him, and I think it's the stunt double, actually, sadly, but jumping, sideways in slow-mo over something as a bird flies in the opposite direction. And it's so great. And they even do a little nod to Blade Runner, where he's up in the rafters and he's got a pigeon in his arm, and he's making pigeon sounds that he makes to mess with the bad guys. Right. Such good stuff.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Well, we love this one. I think we've been over it. I think the snake punch out in the swamp is fantastic. I'm not sure what else to say about this. Definitely check this movie out. If you haven't seen it, this is Van Damme at his best. Where would you put this with? Because to me, the main Van Damme movies, Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Double Impact. That's like the OG Van Damme trilogy. But you have other ones like Hard Target. You have Death Warrant, Lionheart. Those are all still really good.
What do you mean? Like my favorites are the best.
Your favorites.
My favorites are Lionheart it's Bloodsport, Lionheart, of course, the fight movies there, and they're all from like different eras. And I have 4: Double Impact and Hard Target. Those are the ones I've watched the most. After it's Kickboxer and Time Cop, and Time Cop is probably the movie that I'd say the most people have seen. You know, who like whether they're casuals or not.
Yeah,
that was one of that biggest appeal.
I think Time Cop is like a fun concept and all that, but it isn't what's on screen enough. It isn't comic book action enough. Even though our good friend Mike Barron did the comic book adaptation, and it isn't comic booky enough, that movie. You know, it's sci-fi and that's crazy and all that, but there just isn't enough lunatic action and shots in that movie.
No, there's not.
I'm not a big fan of Time Cop. I think it's okay. You know.
Yep.
So,
but it's. Go ahead.
Mike Barron told me a funny story. This is all alleged, so don't hold me to
alleged.
Dinner at Van Damme's house discussing the Time Cop movie, and it was Dark Horse that published the comic. So Mike Barron and Mike Richardson, the publisher of Dark Horse, at Van Damme's house, and this may or may not have been a time when our great, star here had a little trouble with the Bolivian marching powder. You know what I'm saying? And it can booger sugar. It can lead to psychosis. All of this is alleged. I don't know if any of this is alleged. True. I'm going to say it's not true. I'm going to say it's not true. I'm going to say it's a fun story. And they're having dinner, discussing business about making the movie and all that. And I guess JC flipped out on Mike Richardson and started saying, "You come to my house, you eat my food, and you steal from me?" And he just kept like repeating that over and over and like getting angrier and angrier. And I guess he just had to leave. But so I don't know. But Mike Barron loved telling me that story. We don't know what was happening in the great mulleted one's mind that night. But maybe he didn't even remember the next day. It's all alleged. Probably never happened.
We can never know. Know. The mind of a genius is a strange thing, you know. It's So it's crack says D-Wag, ale D-Wag. Like Bloodsport's the one that we watched the most, without a doubt, in my youth. Like we watched that movie on VHS until the wheels fell off. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I watched Bloodsport and Kickboxer so many times that when I was younger, I couldn't tell the difference almost. It was like basically a blur of the same movie. It's like, wait, it's Chong Li or Tong Po, and like, who's the main villain here? And tournaments and all that stuff. How many Van Damme movies have we done here? I don't think we've done too many, right?
We haven't. Yeah, we did. We did.
We got
what have we done? We've done Lionheart. We've done did we do Double Impact?
If we haven't,
we better have done Double. If we haven't
that's
done
the name
Double
of the show.
That would be hilarious if we haven't done Double Impact.
I'll go through YouTube.
I think we did.
Teflon Ron is giving us a treat here in his cinematic debut as a villain in No Retreat, No Surrender. If you haven't seen No Retreat, No Surrender, run, don't walk, and go watch this garbage pile of a movie. One of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. I'll just tell you this. Bruce Lee's ghost is in it and teaches the kid martial arts. Yeah, that's really part of the plot of this movie.
Yep.
The Philadelphia Mafia, like the real mob in this movie, their whole plan is to intimidate and take over the dojos in Los Angeles where elementary and teenage age kids take karate. They're going to take over ownership of these dojos and collect money to somehow strengthen the Philadelphia mob. And anyway, they scare off the main characters. It's kind of like the Karate Kid, only like from the dollar store. And if you paid $1, you overpaid. They scare the family off up to Seattle or whatever. And the dad who chickens out because he gets the crap beat out of him by Van Damme, who's a Russian enforcer in this movie. When the Philadelphia mob gets up to Seattle and they've taken over a bunch of dojos already, the foot soldier mafia guys that are there, he tells the mob boss, the Italian mob boss with the pinky ring, gets off the plane, gets in a limo, and he tells them, just a few more dojos and Seattle will be yours. This movie is so incredibly insane, you have to watch it. Van Damme is barely in it. When he's in it, he's like a ballerina. He's walking on air, beating the crap out of people as this thug muscle for the mafia. It is truly, truly one of the worst movies I've ever seen, but it's so bad it's good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is enjoyable to watch. Watch it with friends and make fun of it, but No Retreat, No Surrender is awful. There. Sorry. Just had to say it.
There you go.
Let me see. I have something for it here. I reviewed it. I reviewed it on my channel like 3 years ago on my old YouTube channel. That would take forever to find.
Oh, we got
where were we when I interrupted us with that?
Oh, so well, first of all, we got to talk about two big things. Someone had mentioned earlier about the great move where the guy gets shot and he's got a cigar in his mouth, and Van Damme, I think might be that kick right there, where he kicks the cigar out of his mouth and then takes some clips off the guy he has on his belt and goes, "Sorry about the shirt." And the guy's still exhaling smoke from when he inhaled the cigar. That's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Henry Bemis is thinking always a couple steps ahead. He's playing, 3D chess right now.
Hey, just 3 more dojos and Chattanooga will be yours, Sean.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. That's right.
Can you imagine if you read in the paper that the mafia was shaking down the freaking White Dragon dojo by your house where 12-year-olds go to learn to break like balsa wood?
Yeah, smashing those little piggy banks open, taking the nickels out.
What is the profit if the mob is leaning on the local dojo? What are they clearing? $784 a month.
I know. It's something. They're not going after insurance. Agent companies. They're going after. It's going. We're going to take over all the McDonald's in this area. It's like
right. Oh my goodness. Okay, sudden death. I'll add that to the queue here too. I'll add that. That's a great one too. Hold on, adding that to the list. I guess we're gonna review a lot more Van Damme. I think
we've got a hungry audience for it.
Right? Yeah. And that's the fun of Beef Law. Like all the fun crap we're talking about here, knocking out snakes with a karate punch or whatever. Come on, how can you not love that? It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So we have a semi-serious, semi-funny question. I would like you to field it. I'm going to put you on the spot, Sean. From our great friend, the super talented Dan Lawless. How do you guys get your wife to watch all these cool 80s action movies? I'm tired of watching 27 Dresses again.
It's simple. Oh, gosh. I don't know if I should reveal this.
Well, you already showed us the belt.
Of power. Listen. Okay, to be honest, I wasn't wearing a belt. My point is this, that when you're watching... Guys, I lucked out. I just want to point this out here. You don't often get that chance for a sight gag. I was terrified I was going to drop this thing. But this is a reborn prehistoric Titanoboa statue with water that's coming out of on my desk. So you guys lucked out. You got the good stuff today. But this is the thing, and this is actually kind of true. My wife said to me, she goes, I wanted to watch, here's a movie for you, Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. And she said to me, Roadhouse, like, what's it about? Why would I want to see it? And I said to her, I'm concerned. I want to point this out. Because if I give this secret away, there's a chance that we've got Angela Curry in here. We've got some people who might tell this secret, and then it won't be as usable.
Right. But and if you're not as suave and experienced with the ladies like Sean, this secret could hurt you. It could be.
It could hurt you. It could hurt you. I said to my wife,
I wouldn't give an 8-year-old the keys to a Ferrari. I mean, come on, it's a V12. Yep. So Sean, careful how you explain this.
I said, this is bad. I said, honey, I want to watch Roadhouse. She goes, why would I want to watch that movie? I was like, well, we don't have to watch it, but I just have to tell you, there is this girl in that movie that when I was a teenage boy, I thought she was the hottest girl on the planet. And when I met you for the first time, you reminded me of her. Oh. And then they want to get a look at this bitch.
You are like polished marble. You are so smooth.
I was like, so boom. Smart. And we're watching Roadhouse, kids.
There you go. Roadhouse has one of the most curious lines in an action movie I've ever heard. I'm not going to quote it because it's filthy. I'm going to edit it. But if you got a child listening or in a car, they don't need to listen to the next 20 seconds of this.
Earmuffs.
Yeah, I'm being serious. This is disgusting, but it's funny. I won't cuss. But the one guy's fighting Patrick Swayze, and he like gets him in a hold, and he tells him, "I used to F guys like you in prison."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
yeah, that was wow. That was did he improv that line? That was very unexpected.
Yep. Yeah, Angela Curry is suddenly put together the darkness that is how it's done, folks. It's just how it works. He
knows. Master manipulator. Yeah. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolument, as the French say. I'm in a little bit of a Frenchy mood here since we're in the French Quarter here with Van Damme. I got to tell you, you lived in the South. You've told me you lived in Texas, which is sort of the South. You lived in Chattanooga. Have you ever been to New Orleans? I found it to be delightful. I was only there for like 24 hours, but I loved it. I loved it.
I don't think I've been I don't think I've been to New Orleans proper. I've driven through Louisiana and I've gotten some food, but I haven't been into any of the big cities in Louisiana, to be honest. You know, because we were always driving. We drove across Tennessee and we wouldn't dip that far south. We were either going to Florida or we were going to El Paso, so we were making the big trek across. But I had friends who went to Tulane, and a lot of people. It's a big vacation spot for everybody in the South, including Tennessee. So. It's a big deal.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been to Graceland. Yeah.
Oh, I've never been there. Yeah, I've never been. I've only been east of Colorado 3 times in my life now. You know what I mean? I've spent my entire life, Colorado, through Las Vegas to San Diego. That just living on the I-15 and the I-70. Basically, that's where I've been my whole life. Went to Chicago twice. Once when I was 7, and then we went on to Washington D.C. So we kind of just drove on like I-70 or whatever. And then. Chicago again for C2E2 in 2010. I was a guest there in Artist Alley. And then this last year, my 25th wedding anniversary, we drove all the way to Disney World from the West Coast here in San Diego. So I finally got to see Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and I just fell in love. Now, I don't know how I feel in August when the humidity and the heat is there.
Oh, yeah, that'll get you.
In the middle of November when I went, it was picturesque. And the food was insane. You know, the Southern food, they're not even kidding. I didn't know corn nuggets existed. I didn't know you were allowed to take a ball of corn and other delicious ingredients and just deep fry it, and nobody would say anything. You're not judged.
Yeah, for me, it's one of those things to where, it's Southern cooking is something I grew up with and I love, and it's just great, and so I grew up with, country fried steak, sawmill gravy, that kind of thing, chicken fried steak, depending on how you roll.
Oh, talk to me.
Yeah, drove out to Beale Street in Memphis after we went to Graceland, had barbecue on Beale Street, which was great. And yeah, Demolition Man and Simon Phoenix is one of the greatest villains of any movie, period. Love Simon
I've already added tonight. I've added Dark Man, Dark City, Cyborg, Sudden Death, Nighthawks, and Demolition Man. I've added all of those tonight to the queue. So, those will be fun to talk about. But, the Southern food. I've said this many times, but I'm just such an enthusiast for it. When I crossed from Beaumont, Texas into Louisiana when I was driving this fall, there just started to be billboards on the side of the highway. The highways there are not like the highways here either. You feel like you're lost in the wilderness. There's a highway, and there's 30 feet of green trees, and that's it for hundreds of miles. That's all there is, just trees. And then there are billboards, and there are billboards for these things called the boudin ball and cracklings. It's like we ship them, we have them, and a boudin ball is like jambalaya with the chicken fried steak breading and then deep fried. So it's a ball. Shunt, you can eat it just with your hands.
Yeah, it's like a gulab jamun, man.
It's like I can now eat jambalaya rice and sausage with my hands in ball form, fried ball form. It was a revelation. So
yeah, it's I got so many. I'll save these for after the show. The whole point is that there's a concern in the chat, and I don't know if you've seen it, about Angela Curry not being modded.
That isn't true.
And that's what I'm hearing. They're saying Angela Curry is not a mod. I was shocked when I saw that. It didn't make sense to me.
No, it isn't true. She's modded, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, let me go check. We should go check and see. I don't know. We should check. She might be.
She's a mod.
I don't know if this is true. Let me see.
She's always here.
Yeah, let me see. Angela Curry. Are you modded?
Ranch Angela. Teflon Ron talking about eating all kinds of animals. I feel like Teflon Ron knows how to eat. He's my buddy. He messages me really funny news shit every day. Stuff. Sorry, got to keep it clean. Every day on Instagram, and we become pals over the last year or two. And I'd like to sit down for a meal with you sometime. So let's see. Angela Curry has a wrench. Yeah.
See, I'd like to say that I've helped keep it clean tonight, but I have to be honest, Gabe. I think I may have let you down.
You did. The belt was over the top. I'll allow it, but it was over the top.
Okay. Yes, it is. It is. Yeah. But listen, guys. I thought it was the rat tail was the thing.
After this happened, there's no rules. There's no rules on Double Impact tonight. Not after this happened. So let's just have a little palate cleanser here. Hold on. It's about 15 seconds of we can just keep talking over this.
Yeah.
So you catch the snake, you save the beautiful girl, you slap him, and then punch. Why the slap, then the punch? What do you think that was about?
It feels like it's, I don't know. God, see, my mind's already gone, man. I can't do it. By the way, every time I watch that scene right there, I was amazed. And I feel so dumb because it's the oldest movie trick. Oh, I was a cook for 20 years. Yes, I'd love to sit and eat with you, Gabe. There you have it. Got a lot of good cooks in comics, Gabe, man. And it's. I will say this. That sequence took me forever to figure out because I used to watch movies even on VHS and try to figure out how they did certain shots. And that was just one of those obvious classic shots where they had the snake attached to the guy's face and then they yanked it off. And then they reversed it. And I was like, dang, guys, I have to tell you this. In addition to the work on No Sparrow and Truth, Justice, American Way and all this stuff, one of the things I've really been thinking a lot about lately, because Vaughn and I, for those of you guys who knew Vaughn Klaus and Terror in the Trenches, we're going to be doing a horror show on Thursday. So tomorrow, I think it is. And we're going to be talking about The Evil Dead. And the reason why I'm so fascinated by that movie, and that's going to be on my channel at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But here's the thing, is that I've been thinking about Comicscape and thinking about CG and thinking about all this stuff and thinking, these low-budget films with what we can crowdfund and what we could do, simple things like understanding some of these tricks. We've got so many talented and skilled people here that, I don't want to burst anybody's bubble, make anybody feel sad here, but the acting in The Evil Dead is not the finest you will ever see. Okay?
How dare you?
I know. How dare you, sir? And
hold on.
And so when we do that show, tomorrow.
How dare you?
Yeah, no, Van Damme goes, I'm not trying to take your money. I just want to help you. But the thing about it is that I look at that, and I don't know if you guys know this, but that movie was filmed in Tennessee. The reason why this movie was filmed in New Orleans was because it was cheap to film in New Orleans during that time. They even filmed the Coen brothers, who are friends with Sam Raimi, who was ostensibly involved in this picture. They filmed Miller's Crossing down in New Orleans because it was cheap and there was a lot of old architecture there that was not being used. And yeah, we are crushing it on No Sparrow, guys. I feel like it's getting there. Like the word of mouth is getting out and people are going, I want to get this before it's done. And thank you guys for getting the word out there. Yeah, Van Damme is Christopher Walken. I love that.
How would that sound?
Oh, Chris! I think I just did it, but I love Christopher Walken because he's the best line in Batman Returns, where he's like, Bruce, shame on you. One can never have too much power. If my life has a meaning, that's the meaning. It was just ridiculous. But I can't do a good Walken because the best Walkens are
Kevin Pollak does
and
one.
Kevin Pollak.
Jay Moore and Kevin Pollak. Joel Gomez, who was a penciler at Wildstorm for years, he's a freelancer now. He can do an excellent one, and he explained it to me like this. I can't do it, but when he said it to me, it made sense. He said, you take some of the single syllables and turn them into 2 syllables. You know what I mean? Like a diphthong, So take some of those. A diphthong is a real thing in speech. It's like light. Light has 2 sounds, but it's 1 syllable. It's a diphthong. But you take some of the single syllables and turn them into 2.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't think of a good example, but I can hear it in my head. And he could do such a great impression, Joel Gomez. So it was awesome.
I mean, we got some great people around us, man.
Yeah,
we really do.
I wanted to promote a little bit of our books here. Nosferatu the Crypt Walker. I just want to say how pleased I am that you guys all come in here. Listen to us pretend like we know anything about these movies. We just love them. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to act like I'm a movie expert or anything like that. It's just an opinion, guys. But the fact that you guys want to come in here, spend time with us, it really lifts me up to see Angela get excited to get modded tonight. I was trying to gaslight all of you. I gave her the wrench and I was like, oh, she's been modded or whatever. Like I was trying to act like I was trying to confuse you. It didn't work because you're too sharp. But it really makes me happy to know that you guys want to support us. It is a weird idea, like strangers who I've met on the internet and they're becoming friends. They want to give me money so I can do my very best job making art. So, okay, crazy, but I'll take it. So, and I think you guys see the sincerity from me and Sean. So, Go ahead, buddy.
Oh no, this is the 25K. We hit 25K, and I just painted the first of the trading cards. So I painted this the other day when we hit 25K, and so you guys can see this is 4 times the scale. So it's going to be about that big when it's printed. But this is it's going to be of the character Phantomas, of course, Nosferatu, in the painting there. And so this is the first trading card. But everybody who backs this book is going to get 2 trading cards now. They're going to get a bookmark. All of them are going to be hand painted. And that's the whole thing about it. It's like the bookmark is coming together really nicely here. And this is going to be a beautiful, beautiful book. I mean, the amount of artwork that I've done for this book and the amount of quality work that's in it is really overwhelming. Because the first 2 books that I did, I was really proud of them. They were great. They worked out really, really well. And I was like, all right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the comic, and you guys have seen, this cover, and you've seen, all of the other stuff that I'm doing for this book. But as every page, let me see if I can show something that a lot of you guys have probably seen some of these, but one of my favorite pages was one I started recently right here. Let's see if I can find it here. Oh God. Again, guys, I have a lot of pages I'm working on, but this page where we start to bring Egypt into the mythos with this great werewolf profile is one of my favorites.
I have to tell you, I have to interrupt. Sorry. As one of the greatest colorists in comics, I approve of your color palette. It's splendid.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. It means a lot.
Hold up again. I love the blue in his muzzle. Just the subtle little things happening there. That blue-green. Oh, my gosh. That fade, that smoke coming off on both ends. You have a really smoky one on the left, and then that stuff going up into the moon or it's fantastic. And I can see swirling. Some of the really looks like it's swirling, like it really looks to be swirling, like when you actually look into smoke or to a puddle or something like that. So
Comicsgate is the best, man. We've got you, Gary Martin, and David Williams working on Truth, Justice, American Way.
Absolutely.
I know you guys know this, but I play that trailer every time I do my show because I love that book.
Well, folks, I've got great news. If you haven't backed the book tonight, I'm asking you directly to back it tonight if you can. Please. I would love that.
Please.
I know a lot of you want to and you haven't done it yet. Please back it. It's Dave's back on the horse working. And let me say a big Comic-Con thank you to all. I'm proud of you and I'm proud to be here with you. I'll never back down from it. If you guys see me on Twitter, I get a little spicy talking to Mark Brooks and other SJWs who want to cause trouble. I'm not going to back down. I'm going to stick up for you guys and be a voice out there. I go on TV, I go on radio, I do all kinds of stuff, and I stick up for the movement, for free speech. That's what this is about. You guys can be any political persuasion, religious, whatever you want to be. But what unites all of us in Comicsgate is one thing: is free speech. If you can think freely, then you can speak freely, and then you can create freely. And you have to have that in art to be sincere. Right here, thank you guys so much. I am officially a publisher now. These were ordered and paid for yesterday. On the top left there is if you were an early backer for Truth, Justice, American Way. If you're on that early backer list and you haven't backed yet, it's the only way to get this card right here. So these are fronts and back. Fronts on the left, back on the right for each card. The design is based off the 1988 Topps baseball card set that I loved as a kid. My grandmother bought it for me when I was like 4th or 5th grade. And then everyone is getting the Truth, Justice, and American Way cards there. So we have 3 more cards. Since we cracked 50,000, you're all going to get that if you're a backer. So please go back tonight because we're on our way to 70. So those look great. I'm so happy. They're at the printer. 2 to 4 day turnaround. My printer's a great printer. This I was working on this afternoon is the $60,000 stretch goal. Is a sticker. It's the corner box. You know how like old Marvel and DC have those awesome corner box with heads in them? I'm working on this still. I'm not sure about some of the logo, some of the graphic design, but I mocked this up. Going to shoot it over to Dave and let him know. But this file, as you can see, is still hold on. This one is still live, this file. Like I can still mess with this thing and do some stuff. But we're narrowing it down. Like right now, I feel like her head's touching the top and it shouldn't be that way. But yeah, the sticker's coming at 60,000. So everyone's going to get a old school corner box sticker. So that's awesome. And then
beautiful.
We're gonna fly past 70, and that's when you're all gonna get this guy right here. So those are not the colors. Those are just called flats in the business. And flats are just so you can separate the shapes. But David Williams put this together, and Gary Martin is working on a beautiful background, kind of like a Wonder Woman stars, like shooting out like that. So this is a great image here. This is going to be a 6x9 full color print. that everyone will get when we crack 70. And there's awesome stretch goals for 90 and 100,000. So we're gonna get there. This ain't gonna be published probably until October was the estimated date. Don't hold me to that. But I'm going a million miles a minute here because I'm really excited about this. I'm really grateful that you guys have all already helped me so much, and you're going to help me a ton more. The links for Shant's book and mine are in the description, so please go back them now if you haven't backed them. And if you back them during the show, let us know so we can.
Can I share a video? Can I share a video? It's down there.
You have to.
All right, let's do it.
I'm going to add it to the stream.
Boom. That's what I play at the start of my streams, man.
I love it. So who's going to do the ad for Beef Law? Well,
Gabe's got it.
This shirt's coming off, and you're going to see the guns for Beef Law. You guys are going to back up.
I will tell you.
Yeah.
If you're looking for somebody to do a trailer for Beef Law, you've got to hire Dying Daisy YouTube.
Okay.
That dude's trailers, he would do. Like he did Roach Balls. He does Hogan the Bogan. He did the ad for the Diaz brothers. But whenever I for Zaid Comics CG Vacation, but he does animation. And when I've talked to him about trailers, and I said, I wonder what someone would do for a trailer for this. His sensibilities are so on point. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, that would be like an 80s video game. Oh, that would be like I think he's someone with his animation sensibilities could really bring the pop and the thunder to that. Like if you give him something like 80s action or movie, this kind of thing, I think he would hit it out of the park. That's my thought.
Well, I'll have to look at him. I'll have to check him out. I'll take any recommendation from you as being worthy for sure.
Dude, he's a genius.
Yeah. Teflon Ron says, so you're saying Beef Law is launching this year. I fully plan. I want to launch it like early October. How do you guys feel about that? Be honest with me. My first book is doing it with David Williams, and it won't be out in your hands. But then I'm going to launch a book before I'm going to launch my second book before you're getting the first one in your hands. Yeah. Is that cool or what? I think it should be. I mean, Ethan did Wrecked Planet and Rainbow Brute and all that, and he's done both of those and they're not out. And I know your boy Zach does a bunch and they're not, but I've been 20-something years in this business, and I've never missed a deadline. You can look me up on Comic Vine. I did a million things for DC. I know how to do this. I do know how to do this.
No, but you're coloring on Truth, Justice, God. You color on so many things. I have to pause. You're coloring on Truth, Justice, American Way. You've been coloring on Aaron Lopresti's book. This is a book you're drawing. Right, and you're making that's a creator-owned project, but your coloring work is going to be going on no matter what during every campaign you do. It's like Eric Weathers is lettering while he's doing a Battle Brick Road and then another project. So I think it's a little different. If you were doing two creator-owned books with just you know what I mean, doing the book, that's a little different to me. But the chat brings wisdom.
Yeah, just so you know, real quick, speaking of Beef Law and launching a second book, because it'll be right like dovetailing, like Truth, Justice, American Way will just be wrapping up, going to the printer, the blah, 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 and you'll get it, but Beef Law will launch it probably right before. You know what I mean? Because we said by October.
What is this?
Well, hold on. It's Photoshop is kind of choking a little bit. I got a lot of things running on my computer, so Photoshop is taking a little bit to open it. But this is everything. I'm working on Beef Law full time right now, and I was drawing stuff for it today. So. But let me show you what I have here. Okay, so I opened all this. I'll go through it real quick.
Nice.
Let's see. Where am I? No, not that one. Hold on. Here we are. This is the first page of Beef Law. So it's already pencils and inks by me, pencil, ink, story, color. I'll probably just letter it myself too. I do know how to letter in Illustrator and all that. But it's, if you love Van Damme and Kumites and all that stuff, we're talking about Hard Target. That's what this book is about, but it has a real story. It's not just nonsense action. It does look like insanity, this book. I want action, action, action on nearly every page. I made sure when I wrote the script, it's 88 pages of, it's an 88-page comic book right now. I went back, anytime I found more than 3 pages in a row of talking, I condensed it down. So if they were talking for 5 pages, I'm like, nope, fit that into 3. So we always have fights and fights and fights, but they're not just like, hey, it's time to fight. It's all story-driven and character-driven. You know what I mean? You have a family that immigrated from Russia to Hong Kong in 1994. So we're right in the middle of Van Damme, Steven Seagal being amazing. So it takes place in Beef Law, 1994. That's where it takes place. And Max Volkov is the main character here with the giant jump kick right there to this opponent's face. And he does illegal fighting to make money. That's what he does, illegal street fighting. His father runs afoul of the Chinese and Russian mob, and he's forced to fight in these deadly tournaments that the mobsters put together. And his dad has found out some political information about the mobsters and the British government. And Max is going to have to survive the tournaments long enough to expose these criminals and their government buddies. So that is the main thing that Beef Law is about. The heart of the story is Max, the main character, reconciling with his dad. He took off to go do this illegal fighting to make money because a lot of broken promises with his dad and his little brother. So he has to come to terms with, he has to save a man that he can't stand. You know what I mean? So it's about so this story is basically about doing the right thing even when you don't want to. And then every time I'm drawing crates, like shipping containers in downtown Hong Kong, I'm like, why did I put it there? And so I've drawn 4 pages, and then I got this idea. I'm going to do a bunch of pinups, of all the characters, just like in just like something that kind of encapsulates their characters. So this is Nina Derringer. This is his girlfriend, and she's a piano player and stuff, and she has an apartment there in Hong Kong. And I just thought this piano. Was fun. So did you see the brand of the piano too?
Yeah, I loved it. That was great, man.
So, and this is all done, by hand by me. I'm not doing this digitally. It's all drawn on DC Comics paper, actually.
Here's a question that the chat is asking me telepathically to ask you. I'm gonna throw that out there.
Okay.
I can't vouch for my telepathic powers, but I will say this: will those originals be for sale as a part of the campaign?
I don't know. I've never sold.
Just loving them right now.
I sell commissions, but look at this.
Kenneth and I don't sell nothing.
I don't sell my originals. No, I wouldn't want to part with this. No, I've been dreaming to make a creator-owned comic for my whole life. I worked for the big companies, and it wasn't mine. This is mine. This is. I won't sell it. I'll just tell you right now, I'm not selling this. This is for my kids and my grandkids and all that. So yeah, here's some inks by me, and the pencils are on the other side of the board. Isn't that crazy?
Nice.
So I trace my own pencils when I ink. That way I don't have to erase. That's a little trick David Williams taught me. So,
that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm starting on cheat paper here, the next page. He's down on the ground where he was being pointed at. Hold on, let me see if I can get back to it. He was being shit-talked by his opponent there. He's like, get up, you dog, or whatever like that. Let's see, where was it? Right here. He's pointing at him. He's on the ground, and then the guy's going to come charging at him, and he's on his hands and knees. Then he does this amazing, like, Street Fighter move, one hand on the ground, kick in the air, and just knocks the dude out. It's insane. So that's how the book starts, with this 6-page fight sequence. It is fun. But, Truth, Justice, American Way, I'll be working on both of them at the same time. It's really, really a fun thing to do. So, yes, Teflon wants says, Gabe's a tracer. Yes, I'm tracing my own work. Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you this. Someone had asked earlier if Beef Law is in the same universe as Truth, Justice, American Way. So that was an interesting question. And I think it's more like, would you say they're just more in like a stylistic universe you guys are building in a sense,
I mean, I can't even answer that. I don't know if it makes sense. I think they'll tell us, the characters. Let me be a pretentious artist. It will tell us. Henry Bamers, how many people get kicked in the head in Beef Law? Everyone, including the readers. So there you go. Let's see. Teflon, I want to see Tofu show up in Beef Law. Right. There might be a guy who's named after seagulls, the bird. Don't worry about that, though. So No. This is why we hang out. Shanth and Gabe Altabe, you have built a little group that makes us feel like the good old days when we shot the shit and showed off the fun projects and dreams we had. Yeah, that's what this is all about. The dreams that Shanth and I had looking at monster movies and action movies and all that stuff, and how it's just really fun to get into it. But then at the end of it all, it's like it's inspiring. It's kind of like delicious food that's good for you. That's a rare thing. Yeah. Usually delicious food, the most delicious, not that good for you. But somehow this stuff is so much fun. And if it's done right, it can be really good for your mind. Really.
Absolutely.
So.
Yep. That's the key. I mean, that's why we do what we do. I mean, one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot, and I'll see if I can hang on a second. I'm gonna turn this mute and stop my camera for a second because I want to show you guys something. All right. May end in catastrophe, but
Shanth is putting on his full rattlesnake outfit. It is a full leather cowboy hat, jacket, shirt. I'm talking rattlesnake leather pants and boots. He's got a full regalia. He calls it.
Okay. So I switched locations here.
Okay.
The thing I want to show you guys is this is the opposite side of my office space. And I don't know. Hold on a second. I just realized my mic is across the room. Is that a little easier to hear me then? If I move that over there?
You sound like you're in a tin can. It's all right.
Oh, hang on a second. Actually, let me check and see my settings here. Audio. Okay, hang on. That's what it is. One sec.
Technical difficulties, folks. So anyway, about this full-on rattlesnake outfit, it was given to him.
Yeah, exactly.
By the vice president
of
the Congo. Actually, yes, I can hear you.
All right, excellent. So when you guys look back here, what you're seeing, gosh, let me see which direction I'm on here. You've got Dave Stevens, you've got Ivan Earl, Alphonse Mucha, Ralph McQuarrie's Star Wars books. You've got Dave Stevens' Brush with Passion, The Art of Todd McFarlane, Mobius, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ghost in the Shell, Dark Knight Returns, H.P. Lovecraft, Frankenstein, Robin Hood, illustrated by N.C. Wyeth, Treasure Island, all these books. See all this stuff we have right here. This is the stuff that inspires us and feeds into everything that we do. Art books and all of this stuff. And someone had asked me previously in the chat where I taught or what I taught when I was teaching college. And I taught illustration and I taught at several colleges. And this sofa right here was a sofa that I bought for my students, for my office, so that they could come in and talk. And when when I decided to leave, it was probably one of the most important things. My wife, kids, and I drove up there, and I took this sofa. I was like, I'm not leaving that up there for you guys. I cleared out all of my stuff. But it's so fitting that it's now in my Comicsgate studio space.
Right.
That it's in my art space. And I'm here with all of my books, including the Book of the Dead from Evil Dead right there. The Necronomicon.
Klaatu,
yep.
Barada. And do you know where those three names show up again?
Yeah, they show up in Return of the Jedi.
Right. Those are the guys.
And they originate in The Day the Earth Stood Still. That's the commands to give to the robot Gort. So I've got the book on Shin Godzilla, James Bama, who we were talking about earlier, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, because I'm a massive Walter Elias Disney fan, Hergé, Miyazaki's large format Nausicaa. I mean, this is what it was like to go into my office when I was a teacher. Do you know what I mean? That's what it was about, and that's what we do.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really inspiring stuff. How often would you have office hours and have kids in there and you'd be talking to them about the culture war stuff that we're doing? Did that come up much at the end?
Oh, that came up. That came up a few times because I had a couple of independent studies that I would meet with at the same time. They'd come by the office. One of them was there. He was former military, so he was there as part of the GI Bill. He ended up getting a job through a friend of mine at a video game company, and now he's doing his own work. And one of them is a teacher there now, one of my former students from my first year. But what I always wanted to do and what I always wanted to see happen is when I went to Skywalker Ranch the first time, I was when my kids were under a year old, and I looked at the Disney Archive videos they would show. I said, we should be building libraries and spaces. And I knew a lot of kids didn't have money, so I wanted to make sure they had access to nice books. So I spent a couple $1,000s on books to have out, in addition to our library books, in the illustration classroom.
so people could have quick reference. And I said, the rules are you can't take these books home or out of here because they always got to be here for other students. So like when you have to come here to be around each other and look at books. Like you can't just go back to your room and not socialize. Go talk to each other. But it's the same attitude to where, now that I'm going to be doing more shows where I talk about stuff, I was thinking I should probably do some stuff where I show books and talk about the books that influence me and inspire me. And we probably both have copious amounts of books and book collections, just all of the stuff that you need. Yeah, Mobius, just like your Moebius, like your boy Zach. I love that.
I've never heard him say it. That sounds funny though. Well, that's awesome, man. About the books, I think I don't know. There is nothing like a good book. You know what I mean? It is transformative, and I think comic books, it's the perfect marriage. We were talking last night on the Players Club, my great Tuesday night show with Aaron LaPresti, Dan Lawless, David Williams when his internet works. Occasionally he'll come in. Gary Martin, the assassin, is there. And Sergio Cariello is supposed to join us, but he's been a little busy lately. But we were talking about Conan the Barbarian. I got the audiobook on Dan Lawless's suggestion.
Oh, I was watching your show. Yeah, I watched that.
It's insane. It's insane. Yeah. It's so good. But it lends itself to fantasy illustration. Obviously, how much did those works by Howard inspire Frazetta and all these great painters and all that? And I think comic books is just such a logical conclusion to pop culture, fantasy, action, adventure, because you get the narrative, you get all that, but now we got the visual. You know what I mean? And I just the combo to me is just, perfect.
When you were talking about when you were reading, it's a great stream. If anybody missed it, that's the great thing about YouTube. You don't ever miss conversation. Well, you might miss them live, but you don't miss the conversations because they're still there. I was watching it. And I, after we did CG Team, I popped over, I said hello, and I was watching it, and you were talking about some of your favorite bits of dialogue and sequences about Conan and about the blue eyes you guys were talking about, and how Dan had captured that, and then the way that he is described as his attractiveness and his power and what he kind of gives off when he walks in a room. And it was a really great stream. And hey, Joe Ball, great to see you, my friend. I'm enjoying your work and love seeing you in the chat.
Yeah, he came in last night and he showed us Death. Insane.
Yeah,
book.
Man.
If you like berserk and crazy manga, like stuff like that, that's over the top. Death explains itself in the title of the book. Check that out, guys. It looks insane. And there is a Manga Digest edition that is like very affordable. And I think it's 300 pages. My ride's here, guys. I got to go. So.
There you go.
Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah. So where are we? I'm a little that threw me off.
We have
that
to.
Horn. I got.
Oh, sorry. Well, we always go places. Here's the thing. I'd say the biggest things we have to cover: the death of Van Cleef. I should say Van Cleef's killing of my mama got sick in Biloxi. I was gonna call you, Mr. Van Cleef, which is one of the most brutal hits I've ever seen in a movie. And he says, "Randall, Randall, Randall, you were gonna leave without saying goodbye. Of course you were. Of course you were. I know you wouldn't want to hurt my feelings." What the hell was that about? And he gets taken down, and then they end up in the final battle where you've got one of those great John Woo scenes of Van Cleef and Chance Boudreaux on either side of a wall. And they're talking back to back.
Right.
And they're reloading, and then they do that great shootout where they come, they're shooting through the windows.
Yeah, I think I found that image. I'll grab it. I did see it, but
so
I didn't
good.
Pull it. Let me see. Now I said it. Now I can't find it. Go ahead. I interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No. It's fine. It's fine. And they do things. Listen, first of all, something you have to understand. Everything, even a carton of milk, is filled with pyrotechnics in a John Woo movie. Okay, those little plastic parking, construction drums that they have. I know for a fact those are not filled with fireworks. But when they get shot by a one-shot target pistol, they go completely like freaking insane. And so, what do you call it? But they have that sequence where he throws the grenade in through the glass as Jean-Claude Van Damme jumps out. And yeah, there it is. There's your shot. What a great sequence.
Thank you, Fandango, for that picture.
Exactly. It's beautiful. Mom's home, get out of the garage. That's right. That's right. No, Gabe's band is pulling up. That's what.
No, you could hear that. I mean, I've told you guys before, a little behind the curtain here. This is my office. It is my garage at my house. So yeah,
Right on.
you hear a car once in a while. It doesn't happen that often though. But
Well, I'll tell you this, man.
I thought this was Billy Zane. They look nothing alike now. Now that you told me it wasn't, I never do that. I'm not that person that'll sing a song and has all the lyrics wrong. I'm the person telling people those aren't the lyrics. My son and my wife, they do that. They sing just like crazy lyrics that aren't the correct lyrics. Yeah. And I'll be like, that's not the song. I never do stuff like that. I wonder why I had that guy so wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I make all kinds of mistakes, so I'm not gonna. In terms of the lyrics, that's happened to me before. But it's it's the mummy. He's fighting the mummy in that sequence, guys.
Right.
And so when then he takes out Van Cleef, and this is one of those things that they would do in movies. So Van Cleef and Fouchon. By the way, someone just brought up D&D. I've got a miniature of Tiamat right over there, just in case anybody's wondering. But they were the thing that fascinated me about it is that, you know, you have these two characters who are the Fouchon and Van Cleef, and he's always taking little pot shots at each other, but ribbing each other. And when he gets taken out, there's that sequence where, you know, he keeps, you know, Pick basically keeps saying, don't, you know, we should get the heck out of here. You know what I mean? Like, we should get the heck out of here. And he's like, no, I'm not going to get the heck out of here. We're going to do this. And then you sort of find out that, you know, then he gets taken out because, you know, of the decisions to keep going after this guy. And Lance Henriksen, when he finds him, does this kind of like, he doesn't scream. He does this sign like, ugh, you know, and then he goes after Van Damme. And it's what I like about it is they don't pretend that he's physically as tough as Van Damme, but he's dangerous because he's got the gun.
Sure.
And I think the way that, you know, before Van Damme, you know, does this sort of final move to the guy, he's holding a flaming board with his hand because he's so enraged. This guy's hitting him with a flaming board, finally catches it. And it cuts through and he sees in his mind, it shows flashes of every person they've hunted and killed, or every person that's a friend of theirs that they've killed right before he does the move. And it's just classic, beautiful drama. Love it.
I think I'm going to have to watch this one tonight. I haven't seen it in 2 years, I think. I'll have to check it out again. Teflon Ron, speaking of D&D, is Rainey still going to be on here Friday? Yes. Rainey will be here 4 Pacific, 7 Eastern.
There you go.
She and I are going to talk comics, talk about my project, her project, but we might compare a little bit of notes of what it's like to be a POC, minority, and have these liberal weirdos try and be your savior. You know, this condescending liberal savior thing that comes down from your Mark Brooks and your Heather Antos. We might talk. It's going to be fun. It's not going to be crazy and negative. But we thought we compare. That's going to be 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Yeah, Rennie will be on here. So that'll be a lot of fun. Yeah. So, yeah. Speaking of your little, I don't know if I want to get into it. But I do want to. I don't want to get into it, but I just want to say, Shant and I, we will talk about this one. Here's a teaser for just in the future. We'll talk about this guy one day.
Oh, you got it. Sweet.
I got him. I got Blur. I always wanted you, Blur, since I was like 8 years old. So we'll talk about that one day. You guys will know the mystery behind this, the significance of this action figure. It's broken. It only has one of the fold-out pieces. The other arm doesn't have it. But there's a very significant story behind this. And that's late night chat though. That'll be for another time. I did want you to see that, Sean. So yeah. Well, so what are we gonna do next week, brother?
We're gonna cover this one last thing because it's the greatest villain death of all time. Van Damme drops a grenade down his pants, and he we gotta do the Lance Henriksen. We've got to do Emile Fouchon. Lance Henriksen drops the grenade down his pants. He frantically goes to retrieve it out, gets it, unscrews the fuse to it, and holds it apart and goes, and then it sparks, goes into the grenade, and he goes, whoop, it just blows up. It's the greatest comic
That's an amazing
timing.
Scene.
It's so good,
I found this online, just quickly Googling. Make sure there's nothing else funny on here. and the name of that image is Fouchon's death. So if you want to sum up Hard Target,
Yeah,
Van Damme,
that's it.
Lance Henriksen, and then director John Woo. This picture, you don't have to watch Hard Target. I want you to watch it. But if you saw this picture, you just saw Hard Target. Okay?
Yep.
Don't forget.
You did.
And
That's
remember, and if you saw this,
Mhm.
you also saw, oh man. Would you do that for your woman if a snake was behind her? Would you do that?
Of course. What are you
You
talking
would?
about? But first I would say, close your eyes. Do you trust me? Close your eyes. Listen, I don't know how fast rattlesnakes move in your neck of the wood, kid, but there's not enough time for that kind of dialogue once you see that rattlesnake. I'm not like going, can I recite a poem? No, there's a rattlesnake behind you.
Right. Someone said, it was way earlier in the chat, I wanted to tell you, but I forgot who it was now, that they wanted to see your rat tail, but it came out from the back of your pants. So
well, that's true. Yeah. I mean, it's technically, it's not fully formed. Listen, we'll get into this later. You got to have something, live a little mystery for future streams, guys.
Right.
You can't have it all now.
Leave something to the imagination. I can't believe 2 hours have gone by this quickly.
Seriously, man. Should we tell them? I don't want to tell them this because they might want us to push it further. But we streamed for 2 hours last week, and then we talked for I think an additional 7.5 hours after we got off the stream, man. That's what we do.
It was a very deep conversation afterwards.
Yeah,
but
those are the things that are real.
Time flies when you have a smolder like this.
Yeah,
it's very easy to talk about. Very easy to talk about this when you are where is it? One of my favorite images we showed tonight. When you are like the Beach Boys on a surf safari.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you have you don't have to go into detail here. Have you used firearms in your life?
Yep.
How good do you think you'd be on the back of a Kawasaki?
I'd be terrible, man. Listen, so I've told you this before. I'm right-handed and I'm left-eyed because my right eye is messed up. It got hit by a Matchbox car and a lawn, all sorts of stuff happened to it. Yeah. So it's weird. I favored my eye out of the fact that whatever, but I can shoot trap. I could never shoot skeet. So I couldn't shoot, two, but I could hit one, fairly well with, with a rifle. But then I also would go out with my friends, Lonnie and David and a bunch of the guys when I was coming up. And we would just go out there and we'd shoot 357s, 9mm. I don't even know the 357 I can vaguely remember because everybody would joke. They would go, so Sean, because I weighed like 90 pounds soaking wet with a brick on my head. They would go, hey, Sean, here's the 357. You want to lean up against a tree or something? It was hilarious, man. But yeah, I have fired guns before.
Oh, Angela's questioning his grip of the pistol there. Oh, we got a gun, a trainer here. Let's see. Sometimes you just have to ride a motorcycle like a surfboard. That's what my grandfather used to say constantly.
Exactly. That's right. Henry Bemis. Yeah, man. It's and I'm I want to point out. You see those plastic drums back there, guys? Right. They do not go off like Roman candles when they're hit by one bullet. I just want to be clear. There's no reality where that would be the case.
Right. Yeah, they don't go off like Roman candles. They do go off like a mortar in a John Woo film, though. They do.
Yeah, I mean,
it seems like they come filled with explosives and pigeons.
Yeah, I mean, it's something. It is definitely something. But yeah, I mean, it's my favorite thing about these kinds of flicks is they were true according to Hoyle escapism. And if there's something that we need right now more than anything is I think we need some more escapism. I think Top Gun Maverick has proven that. Yes. I'm hearing great things about Stranger Things. I'm hearing almost nothing about Kenobi and those kinds of shows that are just like we just need good writers, and we need writers to write something where they know what kind of thing they're writing. Like Hard Target, they knew they weren't writing a period drama. You know what I mean? About corsets. They knew it wasn't a bodice ripper that they were writing.
Isn't, the best years of our lives or the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah.
My goodness. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
wasn't, and it worked for what it was. It was perfect for what it was, and how it was done. And it's the same thing with all great pop culture. Yeah, this is the John Woo-niverse. That's right. It defies the laws of physics. Yeah.
Can you imagine if the John Woo-niverse physics applied to our everyday life? It would be dangerous place to live.
It'd be glorious. The slow-mo, the
cool
birds flying in the middle of your house.
And the cool thing, you could switch faces with your friend, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I could open up the toaster oven and like a dove would fly by my face. Slow-mo. Oh, man.
My goodness. Did you go see Top Gun Maverick?
Not yet. Nope.
Oh.
Have not gotten out.
Don't you feel the need for speed? What's going on?
I do feel the need, but it's the end of the school year for my lady. So she's got nonstop stuff. So in a couple of like weeks, she'll be wrapped up with all her kids and get them all. Because
Father's Day is about a week and a half. Go see it then,
Yeah, that's right. Got to do something for Father's Day, man. That's the way it is.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I think I'll close on this. Angela Curry asked way like an hour and a half ago, if beef law, whatever, stretch goal, my wife make me a sandwich. And I see Shane and all them and Billy, they struggle to get a sandwich brought to them, which is just upsetting to me because, my wife cooks me at least 2 meals a day, if not all 3. And so her bringing me a sandwich is very normal. So I feel left out. You know what I mean? I feel like if she just brings me a sandwich, it's like, well, I'm grateful, but it isn't a big deal in our house. How would you cope, Sean, if you had this embarrassment of riches where your wife is a good cook and then she's always feeding you? How would you cope with that? Or do you have to cope with that?
Yeah, it's a very strange thing because I'm a man of simple needs. Like when people, do you know what I mean? Like, gosh, I'm trying to think of like this crazy woman. You and I have been married a very long time. Not the longest time. Not
I've been married a long time. I tell you.
That's exactly right. So take my wife, please. No, it's or Christopher Lloyd, take my wife, please. No, it's the thing is that we've been married for a long time, and it's one of those things to where I really do think that that she knows she just knows me so well that it's like she knows how to do things. She knows how to like surprise me with the right stuff. So for me, it's like I try to think like. If it would have to be something that would be a challenge for her if it was a stretch goal and a challenge for me, you know what I mean? So like it would be something like getting her on camera. Do you know what I mean? That would be the stretch goal challenge. Do you know what I'm saying?
She would not. Is she too shy to appear on camera?
She does do stuff where she has to talk because she's a teacher and do public speaking, but I can see that as something that would be a stretch goal worthy thing to get her to come on and answer some questions from this chat, and it's like that's a challenge. But getting her to like, if I was like, hey honey, if we hit this money, this amount of money, would you bring me a sandwich? She'd be like, yes. Like what is the problem? Where's the problem? You know. It is what it is, man. It's good stuff.
I don't know. I mean, you'll vouch. We went off the air last week. My wife brought me a New York steak.
Yeah.
So it was quite good. Yeah. She's a great cook too. And she's got a green thumb. She's a gardener, by the way. And we have chickens.
Nice.
So she made a meal 2 days ago, Monday, when I was on King's. It was all from her garden finally, because we just got the chickens. It was scrambled eggs with her potatoes and her green onions and then her white onions. And so it was all her food that she grew and all that with her own hands. It's very nice.
Yeah.
So she's an impressive woman, my wife. She really is.
Yeah, she is. And I've had a chance to say hello to her a few times, which is great. And she always says to me, I don't say hi to people who are friends of Gabe's and not Dean Cain. Her words. Yeah, well, there you go, John. John's got it perfect right there. Yeah. Supportive is not servile. Isn't that
right? Right. Well, that's one of the lies of the feminist movement. Making a sandwich for your husband and cleaning his house is oppression, but going and working in an office for 70 hours for a different man, that's freedom.
Yeah.
I'm trying to square that circle in my head. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you this right now, guys.
That was a trick. I feel like that was a trick.
There are times, there are different degrees of prayer. I will tell you this. and the level of prayer I did when my wife was in the delivery room, with our twins, and I was there. That's not something you can quantify with any kind of cynical differences between the sexes.
Right.
Like, that's not something that people can understand. I always tell people this story, and I hate to get deep here, but this is something that really just drives me crazy because we have fun on the show. We talk about all this stuff. She got very freaked out by the epidural, mainly because she just couldn't feel her legs, and that freaked her out. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And she had to get a C-section because one of the kids is turned the wrong way. It's twins. It's there's stuff that there were some concerns. And when I walked in there and she had the oxygen on, and they were like, "Your wife's freaking out," and I was like, "Bring me to her." Why'd you even separate us? That was a dumb idea. But I went in there and I saw her and I said, and she looked up at me and she had a little oxygen thing on her mouth and she said, "Honey, talk to me about something that makes me forget that I'm in here right now." And it was the sweetest thing in the world. And I'll tell you, man, it's like when you see us, there's a level of when you appreciate and when you love women that it carries over into your artwork. It carries over into anything. There's this supreme beauty, and it is not about servitude or subservient. Just like with her, how she feels about having a strong man in her life who she knows can come in there and take care of business, who can take her to the hospital, take the kids to the emergency room, go in there and get shit done. It is what it is. And I think that's what people need, man. That's what people need.
Yeah. Well, let's go there. Talking about being a dad. When my daughter was in second grade, one of her classmates' parents, they bred dogs. And for whatever reason, we ended up with a basset hound named Speedy. This is like 2000, and I named him Speedy because he was really slow as a puppy. We got him.
That's right. That's how we do it.
I named him Speedy, and he was our dog for my kids when they're little childhood, like elementary into middle school. And he started throwing up blood like in 2014 or 2012 or 13, and he had like stomach cancer, and Speedy was going to die. But he was just this great tempered dog, a beautiful dog. He was a American Kennel Club, and he had papers. You know, what is it called when the dog has papers and all that? And he actually had a family name, a line that he came from where it was like Thunderpaws. Yeah. I'm not even kidding. That's what they called him. His dad and his granddad and all that. And so Speedy's going to die, and it's right at Christmas. Poor little Speedy. He's my favorite dog. I have another dog now. It's wonderful, Jean Parmesan. And so it's like a week before Christmas. It's like, I don't want him to like die on Christmas. I don't want my kids to remember that on Christmas. So I make the choice to put him down at the local veterinarian. So, and this is where being a father is, it's beauty and it's glory and it's honor that I have the privilege to do things like this. I tell my wife and kids, okay, this is the day I'm going to do that. Go play with him, hug him, take him in your room, tell him whatever you want to tell him and stuff like that. And they all did that stuff. And then my son went to his friend's house to play. He was probably like a sixth grader. My daughter was like an eighth grader. And then my wife and daughter went off to the beach, and I jumped in the car with Speedy and petted him. And my wife is just texting me, asking me all these questions about something for my birthday. That's what that dinging is. Like, do you want this? Do you want this? See, that's her. She loves me. Anyway,
that's when you write back and you write yes to all of it.
I can't answer you right now, sweetie. I'm telling the story about when I took Speedy to the vet to put him down. And I take him to the vet and I let them go and just enjoy their day and not think about it. And I take him there, I hold him, the vet gives him the shot, he dies or passes away. I don't like when they say an animal passes away. I feel like that's for humans. Animals die. Human beings pass away. Whatever, that's my own thing. But as a father, as a husband, it's glad that I could stand there and like shield them and take that pain because I could deal with it better, I think, than children and my wife. Why make them do it when I'm here? I like to think about as a man, as a father, as a husband, sometimes as we're like donkeys. Just saddle us up, just cover us with the saddle and the bags and all things like that. Yeah, sure, I'll go do it. Doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt me. I'll be fine. And I took poor Speedy there, and that was the end of Speedy. And, I'm just glad that they didn't have to see that. I made sure the last time they got him, because they loved him so much as little kids, is they just get to play with him and hug him and stuff like that. So I think that's that's why this yin and yang of husbands and wives, how we're mirror images of each other. We're not better than each other, but we are totally different. And that difference is beautiful. It's designed and it's a thing of true beauty. And moments like that, and I'm sure you've had moments like that, Sean, where protected your wife and kids through horrible things. You're telling your wife in the delivery room, take me somewhere where I don't have to think about being here and be scared. And as a husband, it's like, yeah, I want to do that. And that's like Conan the Barbarian and this ridiculous man on a motorcycle. That's what it is. This is the same thing. You put yourself in harm's way for your women, for your children, for your culture, for your country. That's what we're talking about. We put it in something silly like Hard Target, but this is the same thing as taking the dog to the vet for your family so they don't have to do it. You know what I mean? That's what heroism and all that is, for at least the male version of it. That's what the glory of Conan, the glory of Indiana Jones, that's what we're striving for. And these lessons are so important, so we know that when I'm scared in life, when I'm a little kid watching Star Wars, it's like, oh man, Luke Skywalker, oh no. I can realize that I can be brave when I'm scared, because there's an example showing it to me in real life, hopefully with your father, grandfather, all that. Hopefully the real man showing you. But if it's not them, hopefully at least in your religion, your church, and then in your entertainment. That's why it's so important to make this stuff, guys. So,
right on.
Yeah. I don't know. Did I make it silent in here? Oh, pedigree.
No,
that was the papers.
Yeah. No, they were just responding to what you said, man. Respect.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope I didn't stir up something too upsetting for you.
No, I think I think this is the great thing about it, right? It's like it's positive messaging. It's the idea that, listen, I watched this video the other day because I'm always, everybody knows about the Waffle Lodge over on my channel and hanging out when I work on my comic No Sparrow. But I was watching, I spent a lot of time at Waffle House when I was a kid. I was hanging out with my friends. It was sort of like our base of operations where we went. I was watching this story about a gentleman who was a pastor. He ordered some Waffle House over the phone, and then he went to go pick it up. And his wife was at home. He went to go pick up the food, and he met this young gal who was really nice to him on the phone. When he showed up there, he saw that she was pregnant, and he said he just felt compelled, seeing this soon-to-be mother, that he was going to give her all the money he had in his pocket, like $40. He's like, "Here's $40. Put this towards taking care of your baby," because he tries to live it. You know what I mean? He tries to live what he does. And then he asks her, have you got a name for the baby yet? She goes, yeah. She's like 8 months along. And she goes, it's a boy, and we're going to name him Samuel. Now, he had lost his son named Samuel 7 years earlier.
Oh.
So he starts a fundraiser. This pastor started a fundraiser, and he raised over $12,000 for her by the next day or so.
Really?
And brought it to her to take care of her. And I just think life is filled with those little miracles of strangers doing things for each other. And when you watch a movie like this is something you don't even think about. He's known Yancey Butler's character, Natasha, for a day or two at this point, when he's like, and he's seeing what's happened to her, what happened to his friend Elijah. These aren't people that are united by, blood, but certainly they are family in the truest sense, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The way they take care of each other.
It is the positive, because ultimately I've had very little patience for what is the meaning of life. I feel like it's self-evident. It's love, like duh, like to love others. That's the meaning of life. Like to me, that is so self-evident. I could be wrong. People have been asking that question for eons or whatever, but I feel like it's obvious to me. There's in case a visual always helps. There's that's Speedy on his last day, beautiful basset hound. There's me when all my hair was still black. And that little sweater he's wearing, my son bought it for him like right before he died. But it is an honor to like live up to that stuff. You know what I mean? To do those things that matter. And I think making Nosferatu, he's standing up to vampires and ethereal monsters from other dimensions, and Beeflaw, they're fighting horrible, just like twisted evil people. I think it's so great to make horrible stuff like that is conquered, defeated. Evil is defeated, and people, the strength of their character. And I think it really lifts people up to see it. So I'm so pleased and privileged to make it. So
yeah, and we're glad we can talk to you guys about action movies and hang out and get in these times, because life's short. The conversations that you have in it are valuable, and your time is valuable, and that you guys come here to hang out with us and talk about movies and escape from things for a little bit, but also recognize that this ain't the news. We're not in here to tell you guys things are hopeless and pointless. We're here to shed light on those little acts of heroism and beauty that people do for their friends, for their family, that are mythologized on the big screen in these action movies. But make no mistake, we have the opportunity to do these things every single day for people. And that is what makes what we do here on Double Impact so meaningful for us. And that's what made these movies so meaningful for us. And that's what makes the chat so meaningful for us. And that's what makes CG so meaningful for us. So thank you guys for being here with us. We appreciate it every week.
Yeah, I think that's well said right there. So I think we'll leave it there. I think that's a show, man. We went near 2.5. It was awesome. Next week, we got the queue here. We've got 13th Warrior. We already did Total Recall. Someone said The Wild Geese. I'll have to look it up. Fury Road. Hard Target did that. Hitman 1991 by Chuck Norris. Stone Cold, Lone Wolf, McQuaid, Invasion USA, Darkman, Dark City Cyborg, Sudden Death, Nighthawks, Demolition Man. Which one's talking to you?
I feel like Demolition Man would be
hilarious. Okay, that's what I was going to say. Okay, all right.
Yeah, man.
Demolition Man. Wesley Snipes, and of course, we got Stallone. We got Stallone in that one. He's great in that. And I'm a huge Stallone fan. So much.
You're gonna have to do that Stallone voice the whole time, man.
My wife's name is Adrian. After all, I'm being serious. So that's how much I like Stallone. That I married a woman named Adrian. That's not the main reason I married her. It is one of the reasons. Mm-hmm. So absolutely. So Demolition Man next Wednesday. That's going to be June June 15th, 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Pacific. We will see you there. Thank you so much for joining us. Hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell. Everyone watching, make sure you're subbed. The stupid algorithm unsubs like 1 or 2 people when you do live streams because they don't want you to do lives. So everyone, please check if you're subbed. Okay, please do that. And buy our books tonight. Support us so we can keep making great art. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.